Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by sourcevibrations.com. I am love. I am peace. I am free. I have abundance. I have everything within me. For I was, for I am, for I will always be. We are love. We are peace. We are free. We have abundance. We have everything within us. For we are, for we will always be. For Mother Earth is love. For Mother Earth has peace. For Mother Earth is free. For Mother Earth has abundance. For Mother Earth has everything within her. For she was, for she is, for she will always be. And so it is spoken. So it has been written, and it is done.
All right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is Thursday, December 13th, and we have a great show planned for you tonight. We are continuing with our series on King James' Book of Demonology. We are on part 3. This has really turned out a lot better than I expected, than it would be. There's so many gems in this particular book. Literally last week we left off in book 2, chapter 4, and one of the fellas that was in the argument was talking about astral travel. So it's a lot of gems that's been dropped in this book. I am appreciative that we're able to do the book, go through it, and do an analysis of it. In addition to that, I do have some updates from last week. A lot of stuff is jumping off as usual, so we're going to get into that in the weekly news. Before I do that, let me bring on my co-hosts. Let me bring on Brother Sean. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
Peace and love. You got a lot of static going.
Okay, and as soon as I heard you, I hear the static in the line. So I'm gonna switch over. This is a doggone shame. I'll switch over. In the meantime, as I'm dialing, how are you doing while I'm dialing in? Switch over.
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good. It's good to hear your voice.
Likewise.
Okay. Let me bring on Sis Sandra. Sis, I think this is you. So hold on a second. I'm going to the 661. I should know. Yeah, you would think I would know your number by now. That's a doggone shame. But let me bring you in, Sis Sandy. Peace and love, sis. Uh-oh, let me try that again. Peace and love, sis.
Oh, they just unmuted me.
Yeah, it was me. It was me.
Oh, okay.
How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm well. It's good to hear your voice.
Yours and Brother Sean as well. Thank you very much.
Peace and love.
Peace and love to you, brother.
All right, beloveds, I'm going to switch over. Give me about 1 minute. It wouldn't even let me in at one point. Hold on a second. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I feel a little static.
Yeah, okay. It's not me this time. Brother Sean, I think that's you.
Oh, nah.
You guys having bad weather?
The weather's pretty good here.
Well, we got Nibiru in the house. What is it?
Yeah, Brother Sean, I'm not on that line anymore.
Oh. You're echoey now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a speaker or something? Have a speaker, Brother Sean?
I think that's just them. They say they don't make sure that we ain't talking no shit tonight.
Well, that's a given, so.
You're on mute when
What'd you say, sis?
I try to keep you on mute when I'm not talking, and it had static no matter what.
Yeah. I don't know where it's coming from because I switched lines. Let me try this. Okay, is it still there? Oh well. Okay, we're just gonna continue on. All righty. So before I get into any news, do either of you, Brother Sean or Sis Sandra, either of you have any go ahead on with the fuckery this week?
Well, I was looking at the news, and these folks are talking all this crap about indictments and executing George Bush and George, was it H.W.? Executing him.
Senior, you mean?
Yeah, and McCain didn't die. They executed him, and they're all cousins. Come on now. So I'm thinking, what kind of message? Who are they fooling? And he's then scrambled jets to Virginia. No, not Virginia, Nevada, to do the border drills to kind of protect the borders. Now this is the last month of December, the year.
Right.
And
of their year anyway.
And what year did they say it's going to crack off for them? 2019.
Yep.
So who are they scrambling jets for, practicing? Who's this so-called wall going up for? And who did they say is free in 2019? And, I'm trying to figure out now, these are cousins. Clinton, Bush, Trump, all of them are cousins. So are they
Obama.
Are they really doing this for themselves? No, I don't think so.
Right.
I wouldn't try to kill my cousins. I don't care how bad they are.
Right.
But they said they executed Bush. Yeah, okay.
Right. Right. Very good point, sis. And again, it's nothing but a psyop. And as we've talked about this before, the wizard behind the curtain. That's all this whole public persona about these supposed leaders, as well as even in entertainment. It's all a stage play. And it's used for the purpose of distracting the people or the beings or, the star children from utilizing their real power. We are the ones with the real power. Okay? So all of that smoke and mirror they put up is a bunch of bullshit. We know. Yeah, we know it's all one and the same. We know the whole political system playing one against the other is all one and the same. Now, on the other hand, I do think that they are fighting with each other within their particular bloodlines, vying for power. But again, that has nothing to do with us. Right. Because at the end of the day, the realm has already changed to a higher dimension, and it's only getting higher and higher. Okay? Right. So they're literally scrambling. Oh, that static is really getting me. They are really scrambling for survival at this point.
That's what it sounds like to me, too.
Yeah.
Who fights their cousins like that? Who does that?
Agreed. Now, when we get to the series, soon as we finish Demonology, when we get to the series that we're going to do on the ancient Europeans, we're going to talk about who the true royal bloodlines are. And, of course, we all know that they're melanated. But once you start linking all of it together, and you'll see even with that melanated royal bloodline, how they have been chased out from different parts of the planet. Okay? So it will tie into the esoteric / bloodline side of the equation as well. So, okay. But good point, sis. Very, very good point. Brother Sean, did you have a go-ahead on with the fuckery this week?
Well, just to piggyback off of what she was saying, they've actually always been fighting each other. I mean, you think back, they've always been trying to take over each other's stolen goods, poisoning each other, killing each other. Everybody want to be at the top.
Yep.
So that's something that they've been doing. We just ain't been paying no attention.
Yeah, and when we get into the ancient royal bloodline, it really hit me. I'm like, yeah, okay, these are the same people that keep battling, and in between, I'm not even going to go into it. Once we get to that series, we're going to lay out how this all links. Okay. All right, and sorry I'm pausing. I'm just trying to static. I'm trying to concentrate with that static. Okay. All right, so I do want to bring up the earthquake that happened yesterday. It was a mini earthquake, light earthquake in Tennessee, and then it impacted the upper northern part of Georgia. Okay, so we do know that Tennessee sits on an earthquake fault line. Here's why I'm bringing this up, because after the Alaskan earthquake jumped off, and I forget which YouTube channel it was. I hate that I can't remember it, but young man said that the next earthquake would hit Tennessee. He literally predicted that it would hit Tennessee. So when I saw that earthquake jumped off yesterday, I'm like, wow, that dude predicted that. And once again, he is basing that on him following the plasma coming out of Antarctica, and how that is attributing to the earthquakes, which in general is attributing to the plates shifting. Okay, so hint, Mama Earth shifting. Okay, so this is something that we're going to continue to see. Of course, they're not talking about why these earthquakes are jumping off, but this is the very reason that they're jumping off. It has everything to do with the shifting of Mother Earth, the physical shifting. So as we're talking about the spiritual, ethereal shifting to a higher vibration, physically she is shifting as well. Okay, so that really slapped me in the face yesterday when that earthquake hit in Tennessee, because that young man predicted that right after the Alaska earthquake. He said that Tennessee would be the next one. So I just encourage the family to go out to YouTube and start looking at some of the channels, and then I'll post some of them on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page, where these folks are literally tracking the earthquakes very, very closely. They're tracking the Arctic activity closely. They're tracking the radiation coming off of the sun very, very closely. And to date, 2 of them have been right spot on the money with the predictions. The one man, he even has a graph, and he's mapped out the solar radiation activity of the sun, and letting us know that a lot of weather events are going to start happening. And he plotted out on his graph, and you can see where these weather events keep going up, up, and up. So his graph shows at the end of 2018, we're going to have a spike. So now that could be their fake 2018 in December, or that could be when the real beginning of the next year happens, which is spring. But either way, he shows an uptick at the end of 2018, and 2019, he really shows in his graph off the chain, phenomenal weather events going on. Now, that's not even mentioning people that are tracking the things that's going on in the sky. I mean, sis, where you at California, y'all have some excellent views of all of the different planets / energy centers.
Oh, yeah.
That have showed. So I didn't know if you had any update on that.
So only thing I heard is that they're trying to now block the sun. They're sending up balloons. They're going to try to do that next year to block the sun and release, I think, carbon dioxide. I think that's what they said, because they did it in 1991, and so they're trying to block the rays of the sun. I mean, the planets are huge over here. They're pretty cool. We're going, you could almost reach out and touch someone. You know, so
wow.
We have some meteor shower supposed to be happening tonight, I think. So, but I mean tomorrow, I think it is.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to get clouds in and stuff. So in other words, they'll probably chemtrail it so we can't see it. But they
wow.
chemtrail us. They chemtrail us over here a lot to block the sky.
Yeah, I can imagine, because the pictures that I've been seeing and the videotapes that I've been seeing coming out of Cali, it's just phenomenal. I'm like, whoa. So I can imagine them ramping up the chemtrails your way. It just so happened somebody, right before I jumped on the air, somebody was posting their vacation picture, a video clip of them on vacation where they were in the plane. I don't know where they were going, but they were videotaping the sunset. Yeah, you see the sun was clearly setting among the clouds, and then in the background you see the red fiery sun.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I'm like, oh shoot! But this particular person that posted it, I don't think they recognized it, because they didn't post it as "Do you see the two suns?" They were just posting it as "Look at the sunset that I filmed on my vacation." And I was shocked that none of the people on the post recognized it but me. But yeah, you could clearly see where the regular sun was setting among the clouds, and then in the distance you had the red fiery looking sun. So that's where that fiery red hue of sunset is coming from, or the pinkish, or sometimes the pinkish mix.
It's really orange.
With the regular one.
Yesterday I was driving, and I've never seen this before, and it was around sunset, and I was driving home from Los Angeles because I had to go down there, and sun was so red, and when I was in the hedges, it was flashing. You know how you pass the hedges and the sun flashes in your car?
Right.
I thought it was a police car. And
wow.
I looked in the mirror to see if there was a police car around. I'm like, what is that red light? And it was the sun.
Wow.
I said, wow. And I said, I've never seen that before. You see sunsets, I see tons of them, but I've never seen one that red, and it was flashing red, because I was moving. And it was all in my car. The whole car was illuminated in red. So I said, wow. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And, we've talked about this before, and a couple of years ago when we had Chief Willie used to come a guest on the show. He talked about the Hopi prophecy, and he talked about the red Kachina, and that's what we're seeing in the sky when we see that fiery red planet. And he said that, we'll know that the prophecy is being fulfilled when we see the blue Kachina, or the blue winged disk planet / energy centers. And sure enough, folks have been recording that blue Kachina as well. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Brings me back to this political garbage, everybody getting prosecuted and running away and dying all of a sudden. Do you think they're about to jump the ship and evacuating the older ones first because they know what's coming? Because everybody's quitting and everybody's finger pointing and everybody's going and all this kind of stuff. So are they doing that as a drama to get out of the public eye and go underground, like Brother Willie said, Chief Willie said, because they know they have to hide?
Yes.
And they're using that as a front?
And I think that they tried to go underground before, and a lot of those facilities got destroyed. And now that they see the ramp up of that activity in the Arctic with the plasma, and Mama Earth's plates are shifting.
Yeah.
Because she's moving the land, they know they better not take their asses underground. So that's why I think that they're headed out to
Mars.
Yep. I think I am pretty sure. I'm like 99.9% sure. You know, this is my own thing based on intuition. That they already have colonies set up there in the next outer realm, and some of the folks are already there.
Right. I heard they had colonies there. And, you know, when they were talking, the GGs and the Los Angeles, that's where they came from. I don't think they brought them all down here, so they probably have some still up there.
Right. Absolutely, sis. Absolutely. So all of it all is really blending in at the end of the day. So I did have one other thing, but before we start, Brother Sean, do you mind trying to call back in? And then if it's still staticky, it is what it is. Just for us to isolate it.
Okay, because I've been on mute.
Yeah, when I go on mute, it's still there, too.
Yeah.
It was doing that before you brought in the other phone. When you was doing the introduction where the music was playing and everything, it was static.
Oh, even when the music was playing, it was staticky?
Yes.
Okay, well, then don't even bother. It is what it is. Okay, sorry, family. Y'all just going to have to bear with us. This pisses me off.
I'll hang up and call back in, see what they do.
Okay. All right, just for grins. Okay. All righty. We'll let
I'll
Brother
put
Sean
myself
do
on
that.
mute until he calls back, and then we'll isolate it that way, too.
Okay. See, now it's stopped. It stopped on my end. Do you hear it, sis?
No. It's
okay,
gone.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully when he comes back in, it'll be better. Okay, so also what I wanted to discuss with the family while we're on the extra energy centers / planets, I told y'all about the other artificial sun that now they are starting to admit.
You're talking about.
I think we talked about that. Damn it, that was China.
With the moon.
It was. Oh, no. This one is the sun. Okay, let me see if Brother Sean. There he is. Okay, here he is. All right, brother, let's see. You there?
What, the static gone? Or?
Yep, cool beans. Okay, so they just flagged your little line. So it's your turn now, Brother Sean.
Yeah, I guess they say. Yeah, I guess when they mess with your phone, then I call and put you in. So they said, no, that ain't gonna happen.
Right. Right. Okay. So we talked about China's artificial moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I make this up, family? See, this is how we know what we know, and we ain't guessing this shit. This is off of dailymail.com, which is out of the UK. And what date was this? I had it last week. Oh, this is old. I had it for a while, but we've just been getting it in so much. Okay, so this article says, this was on November 14th is when this article was printed. China builds an artificial sun that can hit temperatures of 180 million degrees Fahrenheit in its quest to produce near limitless cheap energy. Okay, so now China had just came out publicly and said, a couple months ago that they was putting a little moon up. Mm-hmm. And their explanation didn't make damn sense to me, talking about some to give out some light at night. It just didn't make sense, okay? So now they're talking about an artificial sun, and I'm going to have to find the article because now the U.S. is coming out saying the same thing, that they're looking at the technology. They're testing the technology for an artificial sun. So we know testing means they've already done it, which we've been saying for a couple of years that they already have one in the sky. So now they're going to come out and publicly talking about something, they testing something. Okay, so here's China. Yeah, they like we Willie lump and stuff. I think Germany has a patent on it, U.S., not sure whom else. But yeah, so, but the average person does not read, and when you try to tell them things, they look at you crazy, and then when they come out public with it, then they look and, oh, you told, yeah, whatever. So here we go with China. The state-of-the-art machine is designed to replicate the processes of the sun. It hit a landmark this week when it reached 180 million Fahrenheit for the first time. This is believed to be the temperature at which nuclear fusion occurs.
Yeah.
China, and I may have read this before, so just bear with me. China has built an artificial sun that reaches temperatures 6 times that of the core of our closest star. The state-of-the-art reactor is designed to replicate the processes of the sun as part of a project to turn hydrogen into cost-effective green energy. It reached a key milestone this week when it hit 180 million Fahrenheit. Okay, so they're using mathematics science there, y'all, that with the 180. Okay, they think they slick. All right, so anyhow, it reached a key milestone this week when it hit the 180 million Fahrenheit for the first time, which is believed to be the temperature at which nuclear fusion occurs. Scientists across the globe are locked in a race to build the first operational nuclear fusion reactor. The victor will unlock a source of near limitless clean energy worth billions that some believe could save the planet from now check this out, how they talk in codes, from climate change crisis. All right, scientists at the China Hefei Institute of Physical Science announced their fusion machine reached the 180 million Fahrenheit on Tuesday. This is more than 6 times hotter than the core of the sun, which peaked around 27 million fusion. Okay, yeah, I think we did discuss this before because my question was how you okay, I think we did discuss this before. I'm confusing this with an article with the U.S. admitting that they're testing one also. So I want you all to be aware that what is going on because here's the deal, family. And I'm not going to read the rest of the article since I read it already. I can't find the one, and let me delete it so I won't try to read it again. Because I had one about the U.S. coming out admitting that they're testing it, but now I can't find it. Go figure. But anyhow, the reason that I'm bringing it up again, because the U.S. is also testing one, but we know they've already had one in operation. We started noticing it the past couple years, the artificial sun sitting in front of the real suns, plural, plus they have some type of mirroring in the sky to block out the other planetary bodies. Okay, so here's the thing. Not only are they doing that to block out the real things that are in the sky, the planetary bodies, the new energies that are into play, but I also think they are trying to stop, because Brother Sean, you talked about this, and I think you about right on the money with this, because some folks are saying that in parts of the world, there will be an ice age. Okay? That they're trying to stop that with these nuclear fusions or artificial suns that they're putting up. And specifically, I'm sorry, what you say, sis?
That day after tomorrow, it was prophecy. It's going to happen, and they know it.
Yeah, so they, So particularly, they're trying to. Folks are saying that they think that it's going to be Europe or parts of Asia and Europe that are going to freeze over. And what'd you say, sis?
They showed on that movie Great Britain and the northern half of the United States, and that the United States had to go into Mexico.
Yes, but I don't think it's going to go that far. I think it's going to. We know Europe. It appears that Europe and part of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Canada is going to be included in that, and if it's going to come down to some of the other states as well. But I don't think it's going to be as big in the U.S. as it is going to be in Europe and Asia, parts of Asia anyway.
You got to think
ahead,
about how they contradicted themselves also, because at first they say with the climate change, with the whole thing with the climate is getting too hot.
Right.
So,
right.
As it's getting too hot, why are you dumb fucks making fake suns?
Exactly. That's a big ass contradiction right there. That's exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Now, another thing to pay attention to is, y'all remember when, and it's still not in the news like it was in the past, but now it's coming back up again. Remember when it was all the talk about China building those ghost cities?
Right.
And they're also building, they're doing the same in Africa too, family. They're building ghost cities. They're pretty much done building the ghost cities in China. And so everybody was like, what the hell are they building those cities that to this day still sits empty? And I can't even remember how many years they've been sitting empty. I mean, just go on YouTube. It will blow your mind, the amount of ghost cities that China has, and now they're doing it in Africa. Makes perfect sense to me, family. Here's why. Now we know why. Because if that ice age is going to hit, then they're going to have to evacuate people. And these ghost cities will be places of evacuation. It is also said that is why China also is in Africa, which this tripped me out. I didn't know that China was getting a lot of their produce from Africa. Okay, just like it is rumored that the California fires, that China wanted folks off of that land for agriculture, which makes sense because if part of Asia is going to freeze and Europe is going to freeze, they're prepping to have housing for people. And then in Africa, they're going to use it for agricultural.
So maybe that's
well
why
as part of California. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
That's why they've been stopping the rain, obviously, so farmers will stop farming and leave the area so they can get it.
It would make sense, sis, wouldn't it? That would definitely add up. That would absolutely add up. So just pay attention, family. So we're saying all this to say that the climate change that they keep talking about is really a planetarial shift, okay? And the climate will change drastically, and I think that it's going to be part tropical, and it's only going to be temporary. It's going to be part of it is going to be tropical, and then the other half is going to be an ice age. And the part that's going to be iced over ice age is so that Mama Earth can heal the way she needs to heal, okay? And to move people where the fuck they supposed to be, too, okay? So as this is happening, people in the Americas, and that includes South America, that includes our brothers and sisters, what they're calling the Caribbeans, we are going to be responsible for rebuilding the land back to a natural and holistic perspective. Because the shit that they have now with all of these cities, these concrete jungles, making dams when they're not supposed to make dams, because if you leave the landscape natural, you won't need all of that shit. We're going to be totally reversing all of that up. And Mother Earth, as she shifts and the climate gets more tropical in certain parts of the Americas, and probably certain parts of Africa too, because folks have been showing pictures where the deserts over in what they're calling the Middle East, they're flooding. Literally, they are flooding. So I'm like, that's it. It's starting to replenish these lands. So part's going to be frozen over till she can kill the bacteria or whatever, and then the tropical part is going to start organically and naturally bringing everything back into balance. So what that means is this quote city life, all of that shit's going to be gone. All of the government, we're looking at a total overhaul of everything. Okay, and those that want to continue the system of the government, it's not going to be a pretty picture. I'll put it that way. It's not going to be a pretty picture because we were never meant to live on this planet in these cities like they have built. It's very destructive to the environment. It's not organic. It's not natural. So just pay attention to that. You're going to keep hearing them talk about the artificial suns, artificial moons, new technology. It said that the Elon Musk dude, and that's another thing. I know, y'all, we get into demonology, but I got to get all this out to y'all so y'all can be aware. The Elon Musk dude already has a pilot, and I forget what city, forgive me, where they're using that 5G technology to give everybody free internet. Okay? Here's the thing, family. They think they slick. That 5G is really just tapping into the new energy centers or the heightened electromagnetic grid that Mama Earth has created. That's all that 5G technology is. Don't let nobody fool you to think that it's different. They are using, because we live in an electric magnetic universe. And Mother Earth has raised up that electromagnetic current. So therefore, 5G, get it? 5G, fifth dimension, fifth galaxy, was for them to be able to tap into that particular energy.
You're talking about the ley line?
Yes, the ley lines. Because remember when we talked about, I said that pay attention to the Arctic, and that it was plasma, electromagnetic plasma pulsing out of the Arctic. Okay, so that magnetic sun that sits in the middle in the Arctic, okay, that's what's responsible for the aurora borealis lights. Okay, now and you should know what that is. You see the green light. Sometimes it's pink. Sometimes it's purple. Okay, but it also shoots that plasma energy through Mama Earth's veins or ley lines. The ley lines are her veins. Okay, so that's the energy. Okay, so as it's shooting through her veins and pulsating up out of the ground, okay, it's also going across the atmosphere. Okay, so that's what they're tapping into for this 5G technology. So in other words, they're already using free energy. And Brother Sean hit me to that when he had sent me something a couple of months ago, when he sent me something where even the electricity that we're using now is more than likely coming from a wireless tower where they're already tapping into free energy.
Just like Tesla.
But the fuckers go, yeah, just like Tesla. So they basically using Tesla's technology, but the motherfuckers gonna turn around and charge us, okay? So 5G is them tapping into, and anybody that's in electronics or if you're in the tech world, you already know this, that, you know, voltage have to match up. So if the voltage go up, you have to upgrade your equipment. That's what the G stands behind all of this, 3G, 4G, 5G. They're upping the equipment to match whatever voltage they are using. In the case of tech, they update the equipment to match the computer code software. So it's the same thing with the 5G. They're just upgrading the equipment to tap into the newer energies that we have, okay? So just pay attention to what's going on. As we continue to shift into the higher realms, we're going to totally still do away with their funky-ass equipment because they're still not smart enough to do it even more holistically than it is supposed to be done, okay? Because us, as, you know, children of Mother Earth, we're not supposed to be paying for any of it anyway because it comes from her, okay? So as we shift, that's going to totally change too. But in the meantime, that's really what that 5G is about. And they gave themselves away for me when they were like, oh, yeah, Elon Musk is testing free internet for this one group. I'm like, yeah, y'all testing it off of that 5G technology because you fuckers weren't supposed to be having us pay for any of this anyway. Okay, it is Mother Earth's energy, and it is the indigenous peoples of the planet. It's our fucking technology.
You know what they're doing in California?
Mm-hmm.
They're about to offer free solar. for certain.
Child, girl, stop.
When you were saying that, I said, "Oh, that's why they got those free soaps." Oh, that's
and see, yeah, and now it makes sense, sis. You're just confirming what the heck I'm saying, because think about it, family. Their commerce was built on using our energy and Mother Earth's energy. Those contracts, null and void, not going to happen no more. So now they're going to try to come out with, oh, we're going to offer this free. We're going to, motherfucker, it was free back in the day. So just pay attention. But thank you for that, sis. That proves another point, because solar was supposedly and allegedly expensive. Now, am I right or am I wrong? Isn't that the damn lie they've been telling us for decades?
Oh yeah, you have to pay a fortune for it, and like $20,000 and $30,000. But they're offering it free now. But I want to mention too that the reason they did it, or the history I understand, is because they were darn greedy. They wanted the money. They destroyed his equipment. He had those magnets and stuff in some labs, and they destroyed his equipment because they wanted to charge. So the wires that they have in the sky is what they're charging it, charging you for
the infrastructure. Yeah, equipment, infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, that GE and electric guy, General Electric, and because they beat him to the Seattle Fair and lightened that up because they stole his stuff. And so then they got it, and then they turned around. Because in L.A. they had all those the electric cars that was running the tracks. And now they just have San Francisco. But nobody needed cars because they had electrical things already running. But they put the cars out there because they wanted to make money.
Right now, Brother Sean can back me up on this, because I had sent him a video, and he, cracked the code immediately. Remember that video that I sent you about those mansions back in the 1800s that they built and then they tore down? And then you were like, you see where they already had free electricity in these mansions. I said, God damn it, those stinking bastards. They had the antennas. Now, this was here in now, not only the Americas, this was across Europe and the Americas. They built these mansions and already had Wi-Fi, free energy technology in these mansions. They showed pictures of the antennas on the roof and electric fireplaces and all of that. This was back in the 1800s, y'all. So only certain people was using this technology. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
They say that the Mayans went underground and they disappeared. Of course, we know that they're us. They disappeared. But when they went underground to find out where they went, they were in huge caves with a river running through it. And when they walked the doors open automatically by electricity with lights inside. See, they not telling all the facts that we had all that stuff before they came over here and got with their commerce. Because that's what happened to it. They got greedy with their commerce and decided to charge for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I like how Dr. Dilbert Blair said they were using what they're calling electric. It was to keep the vibration low on the planet.
Well, that's probably true.
Which makes perfect, extremely, extremely perfect sense, because that what do you call it? I forget the name of it that they were using. I forget it. But anyhow, what they were using, it interferes with your signals to connect to the higher energy. So that's one of the main reasons spiritually that they picked the lower level electric over the higher vibrational magnetism plasma electric energy. Because if you, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
I mean, now that you mentioned that, and the whole thing about the ley line, I wonder if these ghost cities are on ley lines, and they just got them shits there just to keep putting out them elf waves. Because it's crowded.
Elf waves. That's what I was trying to say. Elf waves, yes.
Because if there's as many motherfuckers as it is over there, the fact that they can only have so many children, this, that, and other, you would figure that they would be spreading out into them cities they damn self. So it's a more nefarious reason for them creating them cities. It ain't to escape to, because the elite ain't going there.
No, well, they definitely not going to go there. I think they're already going into the other realm. That could be a very good reason. Oh, well, that's on them.
They got too much they got to pay for. I don't think their energy is going to be permitted to exist anymore.
Period.
Unless something miraculous happens.
And that's interesting that you say that, because they could be sitting on those ley lines and they thinking that they can keep pulsing out those elf waves, but it's not going to work. Matter of fact, I'm just going to tell y'all, you can try to pulse some of that shit out if you want to up against the new stuff. It's not going to be a pretty picture, baby. You're going to fry yourself. It's not possible. Now they can try it, but I'm trying to put them up on game. That's gonna be your ass. That's gonna be your ass. Huh?
Now they about to be giving out free solar panels, because they was talking about that here in Ohio too. But my thing with the solar panels, if you look at them, they're melanated.
Exactly.
I just look at all these melanated people that are coming up
missing.
So, I don't know if I want to fuck with that solar shit. That's probably our people.
The glue they use is top.
And you don't. I tell you like this. There is one brother, Sean, one of the indigenous groups that we're in. He builds them he built the shit himself. And he's not the first person that has built them. So I'm saying all that to say they are not the only source. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Right.
We could Google.
You talking about Terry Wilson?
Yeah.
Brother Remy?
Yeah. I mean, he already built prototypes to do it. Anybody with the basic background, we can build our own shit. So ain't nobody got to depend on them for their funk-ass panels. Because at the rate that it is going, you would be wise to do the opposite and not depend on this system for anything, because it is falling. So that's including your electrical, your heat source, especially your food source, your water source. Their asses are going away anyway. So you, as the caretaker of the planet, you have to come back into balance and start doing these things for yourself. And it's not hard. It's already in us. Like I said, I know at least off the top of my head 3 brothers that can build you a solar panel. Shit, one of them in Atlanta, he was going around building solar panels for folks. And the power company found out because, you know, when you're not generating no power, they come out and check the lines and saw he had the shit set up. So they stopped him from putting that on people's homes. Okay, so what I'm saying is I don't give a damn what they try to put out. It doesn't matter because the technology had been suppressed for so long, people already have it in their back pocket. Like, no, that's okay. I don't need your inferior spying-ass bullshit. We good. We good on this end.
I don't think they destroyed none of Tesla technology. You know these
They
folks
didn't destroy it. They're using it.
Right.
Exactly. They are using it. Absolutely. They never destroyed it. They're using it. Brother Sean, when we saw that video with them houses in the 1800s, they were using it then.
Mm-hmm.
There's he has a technology with electricity where you have a 4x4 plate, a metal plate, and you run I think it's a copper 30 foot,
which we know is a very good conductor.
And you run a string back down to the ground and it grounds it, and you can get electricity off of that. I got the thing from his program. I bought it some years ago, and you can get enough electricity that way just with a 4x4 foot plate of steel or something on the ground and a copper pole. And you can grab the energy out of the air.
Exactly.
Exactly. You don't even need to get it out of the air.
But this form of electricity, to send it out elfways and put things off balance.
Right.
We need to be remembering and going beyond that technology. Period. I mean, we have to get back to pure magnetism.
Right.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed.
Those are the highest frequencies. That's what Mama is all about.
Exactly. And that's why I said that they were using 5G, that they're pulling the current out of the atmosphere. That's electromagnetic current that is currently in the atmosphere. That's what we're going to be using, because that's all we've ever needed.
That's
all we ever needed.
That steel plate is where you pull it out of the atmosphere.
Exactly.
That's what he had. But to see the solar panels, the glue that they use to put them together is toxic, I understand. So it's seeping into your homes as you use it. But what he had was totally free. No chemicals.
Right. Right, because you pull it out of the atmosphere.
That's right.
You know, because that's part of the air we breathe, and we're also magnetic beings as well.
We're electrical. All electricity.
Yes, we are. Yes. Electromagnetic, absolutely. So that's what that's where we're going to, where we're using the magnetism. You're going to see where we're going to be using levitation. You can use levitation through magnets, and this ain't no shit I'm making up. You can go online and see it. That's how our ancestors moved big objects back in the day. We did it through magnetism, electromagnetism, and when I was talking to Brother Sean, I said, yeah, all this shit going to have to be torn down, all these damn buildings. I said, maybe we'll use that same laser that they're using to start the fires. And he like, no, we don't need to use that. We can use magnetism technology. I said, you know what? You're right. And levitation. So just to put the family up on game so you'll know what these new things that they're saying that they're bringing out, it is really the ancient technology that we were using, so they ain't bringing nothing new. But the only reason that they're doing it is because the Mama Earth is changing the atmosphere. She is upgrading the atmosphere. So that's what that whole fifth dimension, quote, quote, meant on so many levels. Yes, on a spiritual level, it meant a higher dimension, and actually we're going to be going far beyond 5-dimensional, okay? But on a physical level, what they're not being honest about, all of this 5G technology is really tapping into the electromagnetic energy. Okay, and this is the energy that they've always been afraid of. They've always been afraid of because it comes with a certain high vibration with it as well. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
Their base is sulfur. I understand. And our base is copper. We're copper people, the copper-colored people. We're not only copper-colored, we're copper. Our makeup, our general chemistry is copper. And because they strip all the copper out of our diet, we're left at the low vibrational level. So what we need to do is replace our copper. Our hair is copper. That's why it curls. Because it's like, copper wire. So they won't be able to transcend because their base is sulfur. So they will ignite like a match.
Damn. That goes back to that folks seeing visions of folks combusting. That would make sense.
Yeah, because of their base, their chemical base. It was like what this young man was. I told you about a video I was watching, and they freaked him. They turned the volume off so you can't hear what he was saying. And he was talking about that 6 million years ago, that there was a change in the atmosphere that made the transition of the trypsin, or I think that's what it was, a molecule change into sulfur, and that's what gives you the lunacy or the unmelanated people. And when leprosy, got you. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And so we came before them, and we had the right copper balance all the way through until the atmosphere changed. And they're sulfur-based. And because they're sulfur-based and their chemistry is mixed up, or there's a mutation and their chemistry is mixed up, so they won't be able to make it. But we have all copper. And as the frequency change and the electromagnetic fields are changing, we're changing with them.
Absolutely.
Because we're copper-based people.
Absolutely. Now, it's interesting that, dang, yeah, I know. We're getting back into demonology, but I guess we had to discuss that. It's interesting that and thank you, sis, for bringing up about that copper, because I just had a conversation with someone, and we were talking about how the realm is being raised up, and we were talking about the food supply, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And I was telling the person that as the planet Mama Earth keeps shifting, she keeps raising the electromagnetic field across the planet, the suns are also pulsing through certain amount of radiation to help speed up that process as well, okay? Now, where I'm going with that is what that means is melanated people, we are getting those upgrades through the skin, through the hair, and that's why a lot of sisters from a subconscious perspective started going back wearing their natural hair, so the coils in the natural hair can pick up that energy. Okay, the soil is seeping into the soil. This electromagnetic is going to seep into the soil, and it's going to be seeping into the soil, so that means, therefore, the food. It's going to be into the food, the vegetables, the fruits, all of that as well, okay? That's for the sole purpose of everybody is getting an upgrade, okay? But if your body is not in tune from a vibratory standpoint to accept those physical changes, which equates to the vibrational spiritual changes, you're going to have a hell of a time.
Right.
Okay. So now is the time that, be careful as much as you can with your diet, come off of, if you on the fast food crack diet, start weaning yourself off of that, start detoxing off of that, because they're going to start calling it radiation levels. Mark my word. By next year, they're not going to have a choice but to start talking about the high levels of radiation in the atmosphere coming from the sun. Okay? Now, they're going to be right. Don't get me wrong. They're going to be right. Yeah. It is going to be harmful to some people. Okay? So if you want to adjust and get your upgrades, there are some physical cleanup in the body you have to do. So that is going to be, especially with the toxic meats, if you're going to eat meat, try to eat as clean meat as you possibly can. Okay? And then other things you just going to have to flat out just give up. Eat as much fruits and vegetables as you can. And those of you that are in tune, you know what I'm saying, because you're already right now probably eating so many more damn vegetables that's all you want. And anything else that comes across your palate or your nose that ain't clean, it disgusts you and it literally makes your stomach queasy. And this is the reason why, because your body is preparing for even more of these high vibratory signals coming up, okay? So I'm preparing you for next year. You're going to start hearing them talk about, and it's probably going to be out the gate in 2019 if we go by that one man's graph. And so far his graph, that man has been on the fucking money, that the radiation / electromagnetic field is going to increase early 2019. And I'm predicting they're going to start coming out talking about radiation. They're going to start telling people what times of the day it's going to be best to go outside and all that motherfucking shit. And in their defense, they are telling for certain people that is the case. They are telling truth. But for those of you that are in tuned, that means the opposite for you. You are supposed to be out there to get the necessary upgrades. And then what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing the planet, the part that's not going to freeze over. You're going to start seeing the soil change. You're going to start seeing the vegetables going to be huge in the motherfucker. All that stuff is going to start changing with it. Okay, so just to give you a heads up to that, I know that was long, but it's been on my mind, and I'm constantly, this is what I'm being fed. So I'll yield in case y'all have to put something on it. If not, we'll get back into tonight's main topic.
Oh, I know we're going to get into demonology, but I wanted to bring up this one thing I heard today.
Sure thing, sis.
This Chinese scientist has spliced genes, and he spliced genes of some twins to take out the gene that does the HIV virus. So they're really pissed off at him. They're so mad at him that they don't know what to do with themselves. And they've been practicing this demonology of gene splicing since the fallen ones came here.
Right.
And that's why you see some of these people that have bird heads in men's bodies, because they've been splicing and dicing genes for a long time.
Right.
And I think
genetic
when
manipulation.
you get into as we get into King James, he's going to start talking about some of that stuff. And I haven't even read that book, but that's what they have been doing on this planet for a long time. And so they are really angry because he done unspliced what they put together. And that's the point of my conversation. They put that HIV out there and other diseases.
Don't they have a patent on it?
Yeah.
Isn't it a patent on HIV? Okay, just saying.
Ebola and all of that stuff. They have that stuff. The United States, not just the United States has patents on that stuff.
Right.
And so he's undoing this. So what I'm saying is he's already started the reverse of what they put out here. So it's changing already. They have to. They can't put their stuff out here no more for our people to get it. And they're mad at it.
Right. Well, that's on them. They need to motherfucking concentrate on trying to get their soul and spirit together to vibrate higher. That's what the fuck they need to be concentrating on, instead of being mad at other folks that's like, look, I don't want to be caught up in this fuckery of being judged for not doing the right thing, so let me do my part. So that's what they need to be concentrating on, because it's not like that they couldn't make a better choice to clean up their particular vessel, clean up their consciousness, clean up their bloodline to be able to shift.
Right.
That's what the hell they need to be concentrating on, and that's why I say every week to everybody across the planet, not just melanated people. This is Eurasians, and when I say Eurasians, that means Asians and Caucasians. This apply to you all, too, to get your shit in order. Sweep around your own doorstep, clean up your own consciousness, clean up your own bloodline. Because all these bullshit-ass excuses, this is across the board for everybody. That shit's out the door. Okay? We're at that point now that you either, like, Grandma and them would say, you either going to shit or get off the pot. And some of y'all have missed the pot because you've let it go on for so long that you're so behind that you won't be able to get your vessel together to be prepared for the shift. So, yeah, very good point, sis. But that's what the hell they need to be concentrating on. But, hey, that's on them. Because it really doesn't matter what type of disease they try to put out. It will be nuked because of the electromagnetic field. It will be nuked. So all of that, remember a couple of years ago in the esoteric community, they talked about, all of these new machines that were going to come out to help people that were sick, and how cancer is going to be cured, and this, and that, and we're going to live longer. The machine is walking your ass outside as the electromagnetic field raises. That's how healing will happen. grounding yourself in the earth and your body picking up on the electromagnetism. That's how the healing is going to happen. So none of those other destructive viruses that they put out, they will not even be able to survive. Not going to happen. So whatever the CDC got my fucking catalog and all of that, won't be able to survive in the atmosphere.
It's it.
So,
If we remove the cell phone towers and these wires and bullshit, we'll start healing instantly.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Because
I totally agree.
not only is this stuff interfering with us, it's interfering with Mama. It's interfering with our connection to Mother.
Yep.
See, when people look at the quote-unquote black family being destroyed, they're overlooking the primary relationship, us and Mama.
Right.
So, I mean, us and Mama is the macrocosm, and our family situation is the microcosm.
Yes. I love, that's beautiful how you describe that. Macro and micro, yes, because we are the all and the all is within us. So the all is the macro and us is the micro. Beautifully said.
But also,
totally
they say
agree.
that Bill Gates then came up with some new chemical put in the spray that will completely block out the sun.
Right, he did.
The reason that they're trying to ramp all that up is because the sun is actually moving closer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So y'all want to play games? Keep lying about where I am. Keep doing this, that, and other. Okay, I'm going to come a little bit closer. In a minute, I'm going to be whispering in your ear.
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting, and I see you, sis. I think that's Sis Lioness. I'm getting ready to bring you on. It's interesting you bring up the sun because I was talking to my neighbor earlier this week, and he had went to the park and was, sun gazing because, Sean, we rarely see the sun, so we take advantage of it when we see it. So I was like, yeah, I missed the sun out earlier today. Woo, woo, woo. I said, I really, really missed the sun, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. So I get ready to go in the house because I was bringing groceries in the house. So I turned to bring my last bag in. Damn sun came out. I said, oh, hey, sun. So you're absolutely correct, Brother Sean. That is what's boiling down. They keep trying to hide it, but these things, the suns, we are connected to all of these things. So you can communicate to the sun to make an appearance. So you could do whatever you need to do for the sun to make an appearance to burn up all of the impurities or the chemtrails in the sky. Because those suns keep knocking out those damn artificial suns that they're putting in place. That's why some days you'll see it, some days you don't. I can't even imagine how many of them that they have to replace, okay? So, yeah, that's a very, very good point. The sun is literally coming closer, and as, we're being upgraded, and as the electromagnetic field within the planet is also upgrading, your direct communication with Mother Earth, with the plants, with the trees, and with the suns it's going to happen instantaneously, okay? That is in your DNA. That is in your birthright to do so. You know, you also play a part in making the shift happen, okay? We don't have to wait on Sky Daddy, Galactic Family, any of that. You have everything you need to do your small part to make it happen. That's why I always make the statement, create the world you want to live in. So, yes, thank you very much, Brother Sean. And, yes, be prepared. Sorry, y'all, if y'all hearing all this rumbling. This damn mic is messing with me. Be prepared for this electronic shit not to work either. Internet and cell phone, because I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's been real sketchy. I mean, extremely sketchy. Internet goes up and down, phone calls dropping, so just get prepared.
Over here, too. Over here, too.
Yeah, everybody I talk to, we're having the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at your internet provider, you can look and see where the outages are. And if you watch that calendar of when they're calling it, some are calling it radiation pulses from the sun, some are calling it the electromagnetic field is higher. That's when you're going to see outages in this equipment. And Brother Sean's point is valid. Get ready for it, because all this shit, it's a done deal. It's dead end. We have to get rid of it.
Well, we also
because it interferes with the pulse of the higher vibration. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
We're also entering into the galactic rift. The planet is moving, not only shifting but moving, and it's going through that center of the Milky Way. And on the other side of that is the null zone. So they're already putting out feelers already that your electricity and stuff may not work. They're already saying it.
Yeah, because they know it. They know it's not going to work. And, you know, it's interesting. I'm coming to you, sis, I promise. It's interesting because I have my sis, she lives in Tennessee. So when the earthquake jumped off, I text her, you know, just checking in, make sure you're okay, blah, 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 blah. So when she got back in contact with me, she said, oh, girl, yeah, I was asleep. I said, I figured as much. I know they said it wasn't major. I just want to check on you. She said, yeah. She said, but I heard metal grinding. And that's not the first time her and I talked about that we could sometimes hear and feel like this metal grinding. And if you're in tune, you'll know what I'm saying. So in other words, we feel Mother Earth shifting. Okay? She's shifting. And so that Milky Way is moving around us.
Mm-hmm.
But she is literally physically shifting. Those plates are shifting. So we don't even know how the landscape is going to look when she's done shifting, because we have other islands that were once sank. Matter of fact, Brother Sean, did you hear about the island that came up off of South Carolina?
Oh,
you mean that the water? You mean that the water receded? The island that came up.
Yeah, that the water receded. My bad. You're right. That the water just receded. Yeah, the water receded off of South Carolina. There's a new island that popped up. And so they're like, oh, you know, telling people don't, you know, walk on it yet, this, that, and the third. We don't know how stable it is. So, and that's not the first place. An island in between Australia also, the water receded with that. In India. So, yes. So we don't even know how the landscape will totally look when she's done shifting. But when she is completely shifted, we will be at back to a tropical environment. So let me bring on Sis Lioness. I think this is her 215. Peace and love, sis.
Peace and love to everyone. Yes. I started to put myself back on mute, because you came to speak about the different things, each of you, okay? One thing I would say is everyone, just think positive. Only speak the positive. I know it's hard because you're coming out of one thing where you were so pounced upon and everything like that, but speak the positive because it is that you're making what you want now. And actually forget about them because they really don't exist, but just keep you going, and you can keep that which is around you that you can allow to service you now. Then you keep that going because it is electromagnetic. It is about and there were 2 earthquakes, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, almost at the same time with the same numbers, not the same time. Okay, and you're going to find that happening on so many things because what we spoke about, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago or more. Those people who really thought all it was going to be was a change in the people, as in the face of the people, that there was going to be black people in charge. No, it's not that. And your insides are changing because you are electromagnetic. And
that's right.
This is synchronicity because I sent you a thing before you got started talking. And that's what I'm doing Saturday. It's electric. Boogie. So
wow, we just always be in sync.
Get ready dancing, singing, move your body, uplift your mind. We all have to stop saying they. Say thee and thy and thou because talking about yourself. And you're talking about, I went to another brain thing. It's goodness because we have to help one another, and it's all there. It's just all there, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So, yeah, and the sun, the SON and the SUN, because you are that. You are that.
Yes.
And we did go to the Galactic Center, and we went. That's the center of the entire cosmos. This galaxy, this end of the galaxy where we sit at, is the center of the entire shit. And it's not to be thinking ego-wise like they talk about, but you're thinking and you're knowing and you're talking, speaking truth. That's all you're doing, speaking truth, but righteously. And stand up for yourself because that's what you're going to have to do. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that is why we must have the wall. See, y'all still talking about the boy, but you're going to find out. The boy going to be gone soon anyway. Don't worry about that. He was the trigger to put this shit in place because we weren't doing all of our jobs. And then that wall, because of all of these things and everything is off kilter and all manner of will be seen. Ergo, anybody and anything is going to try to jump over that wall. They're just using the analogy, the example that people can see with their own eyes right now of a Mexican, but that's not what they mean. That's not what they mean. It's to safeguard you for all of the other beauties and wonders and adjustments of the righteousness that are to come about. And
that makes sense.
We fine. So just do that electrical thing inside of you. Make sure your circuits are open and closed where they need to be and open where they need to be because you're the shit and you're going to be back in the limelight, but of a real righteous, caring, loving, kind, abundant, and intelligent nature. So thank you.
Yes.
I'll be quiet
because
y'all got it.
Oh, no. Love you much. And, sis, of course, you're going to send me the information for the call on Saturday.
I did. That's what I did. That's the synchronicity in it. And
okay. I didn't see the call-in information.
Yeah. And we're good. And it all fits with the everything that everyone was told before was a lie. So be ready to fall apart to put your circuits back together because you're going to, a lot of you are going to fall apart and be so fucking confused and don't know and can't trust yourself. Well, that's the only person you can trust right now is yourself. Per son, from the son, of the son. That's what it means. Don't look at that. I was going to say something else. Don't look at the paperwork thing. Leave that alone, because you didn't come in here with no paperwork. You ain't going out with no paperwork, because you ain't going out. So that's the other story there. Just be who you are. Nobody else, nothing. You'll have everything you need, and nobody has to be jealous or greedy or any of that. And they're not. Nope. They went places, yes. They are fighting. It's everything happening right now because that's the only way you can clean house. But it started again today. This shit is over. Just say that. Say that out loud. So, yeah.
The shit is over. The shit is over. Yep. Thank you, Sis Lioness. Because, like I've said, family, I know I'm at the point where I'm creating.
Right.
Okay, I'm not worried about what somebody else allegedly said they gonna do. Yeah. Okay, whatever. What a government is supposedly doing. That's not my fight. That's their particular bloodline's fight for their survival. My responsibility is to clean up my own vessel, break generational curses in my bloodline, and create. That's what my responsibility is. And us as caretakers on this planet, we have to get back to the level of consciousness as a creator, not a consumer.
Right.
So everything that we are thinking, you are creating. So therefore, you have to be mindful of your thoughts. Your thoughts should be in the mindset of creating. Okay? And once we start doing that as a collective more and more, the quicker things will move along. And also, the more upgrades and information that you're going to get to put things into physical fruition, because it's already happened in the spiritual realm. We keep telling you all that. It's already happened on the spiritual realms, plural. You
and as above, so below.
I'm sorry. Absolutely. As above, so below.
And as inside, so outside, inside of you. We have said it so long, just go inside. Just go sit in the corner and look at yourself inside. Just go do that.
Absolutely.
And you open up so many avenues and so many pathways. You'll breathe better, you'll sleep better, everything. And everybody's going to have to come to holistic health care now for your brain, for your breathing, for your whole body, and it's just amazing and wonderful and magnificent. MAGA, when you find out what MAGA really means, leave that man alone. It's not about anything, and you're not your body. You are that essence inside of the sun, of the thing you think is God. Okay, so be that who you are. If you think it's God, okay, fine. Use that title if you so want to. Everybody don't have to. But the same essence is that. So if that's you, then just be that. And walk and talk and dance around like that, because that's what they do. I'm not talking about the they that y'all talking about. See, it's a different inflection and tone. And when you start reading about Charles James, King 1 and 6, 1 and 6, the all there is in the love. You're going to find out you have to go back to before he was born and why he acted the way he did. And then you got to find out if he really acted the way that they told you that he did. And there's white people calling me and sending me messages. You sent out a message with something in it that said, are you trying to tell me that he was black? I said, no, I'm trying to tell you he was melanated.
Right. So, sorry if it hurting feelings, but that's not my problem.
It don't matter. It don't matter whatsoever. But just get the righteous pieces out of this that you are giving, and when your circuits and your circles and your cycles within each one of you are correct. There's going to be a correction. There's already the reset. Don't worry about the blankety blank money. Whatever you need to be who you are, you're going to have that because you are the God you've been looking for. That's just factual, and they know it. You got to know it. You got to really know it, not just say it. Yeah,
that's right.
And then you speak with they like loud and clear. No, speak that you are who you are loud and clearly.
That's right.
And go with it and love yourself and hug yourself because there's a big party about to come in. You may just be so happy for the 25th because the saying about everybody's waiting for the second coming of JC. Well, JC was a woman anyway, if in fact that's the way it played out. Okay, that's number one. Number two, many names, including Lucifer, the same individual, if there was. Okay? But even if there was or there wasn't, it's the coming of the second son that is about to happen with 3 to 10 days of darkness. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And that's what it's about because you're gonna be by yourself. I mean, you can have your family around you or you can have no one around you. It doesn't matter. You're gonna be by yourself, and you have to survive. Only you will survive if you want to. It's written that you will if you're going to just deal with written things and prophecies and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. It's in your makeup to survive, and not just to survive. It's your makeup to live until you choose to go pick another body, whether that be celestial or physical or whatever. But now your kingdom will come because you will make and create your kingdom to come. And I'm shutting up.
No, very, very good. So Sis Lioness will be doing a call on a show on Saturday, December 15th at 10:30 p.m. It's called, and I can't make this up, y'all. She literally just sent this to me 20 minutes ago while we were on the air. It's the name of her show is It's Electric Boogie Oogie Oogie Oogie. Okay. Here is the number, and I'm going to post this on Truth Uncompromised Facebook page, but here's the information for those that don't do Facebook. The call-in number is 712-432-6293. 712-432-6293. The passcode is 512-517, 512-517. If you can't get in using the first number, you can try the same number, but just use the last four numbers as 6301 with the same code. So you can do 712-432-6301, use the same passcode of 512517. Okay, so those are some alternatives to make sure you get in. So that's this Saturday at December 15th at 10:30 p.m. And the topic of her show is It's Electric Boogie Oogie Oogie Oogie. So thank you, Sis Lioness. Love you very much. Okay, you want me to put you back on mute?
Stay with us, sis.
It's all right with me. I just, I'm considerate of the fact you and everything y'all were saying was coming in there, so I didn't have to really say anything but tie it together.
I know, but
so
we'd love for you to stay. I'd never be wanting to pressure you, so I'm gonna.
No, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So I'll leave you open. And I know, we had a call 661. I apologize. Come back in the queue. I don't see you anymore. 661. Sorry about that. I know we got a little winded, but come back in the queue and we'll let you put something on it. Okay, so here we go, y'all. We're finally getting ready to get up into King James Demonology, although we were still really kind of, in the grand scheme of things, it's the same thing. So where we left off last week, we left off at chapter 4, and the argument was about what are the ways where witches can transport themselves to places far distance, and what are impossible and mere illusions of Satan. Okay, so basically, of course, one of the gentlemen in the argument was like, no, they just tricking themselves in the mind, or, they're using the devil, would give them the illusion that they're doing traveling. And then one of the gentlemen came out and started describing, well, I kind of experienced, he didn't come out and say he kind of experienced it, but what he was describing was astral travel. So, as Brother Sean pointed out, that he was pretty much in an indirect way saying that that's what he experienced. So that's where we left off in chapter 4. Brother Sean, did you have anything else you wanted to put on chapter 4 before we go into chapter 5's argument?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so here we go with chapter 5. We're in book 2, family. Book 2, chapter 5, here's the argument. Witches' actions towards others. Why there are more women of the craft nor men. What things are possible to them to, you think that's effective or etiquette by the power of their master, the reasons thereof. What is the surest remedy of the harms done by them? Okay. All right, so that's the argument. How would you pronounce the first fellow's name? Is it Philamites or Philomats?
That's what I think it is.
Philamites. Okay, that's what I think it is. I'm going to go with Philamites. So Philamites said, for soeth your opinion in this seems to carry most reason with it, and since ye have ended, then the actions belonging properly to their own persons say forward now to their actions used towards others. So I don't really understand what he was saying. Did you get what he was saying, Brother Sean? For in your opinion, you have ended belong properly to their own purposes. I don't know what dude was saying. It may make a little sense to me a little more. Okay.
Where are you at?
I'm on book 2, chapter 5. Okay, and so the argument is witches' actions towards others. Why there are more women of the craft, I'm just going to say, than men. Okay, what things are possible to them to effectuate by the power of their masters? Okay, effectuate. Okay, effectuate by powers of their master, the reasons thereof. What is the surest remedy of the harms done by them? And so that's when Philemite said, for,
Philomathus.
Philomathus.
Forsooth,
okay, go ahead,
your
brother.
Opinion in this seems to carry most reason with it, and since ye have ended, then the actions belonging properly to their own person, they forward now to their actions used towards others. What he's saying is that women are more powerful.
Yep.
That's why it's more women in the craft than men. The men, to reach certain heights within that craft, would have to be something special.
Got you. Got you. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Also, if that was in the 1500s, I think you say, that's when they started doing the women.
1597. 1597.
They were doing a lot of witch hunting and women, and because women had more spiritual gifts than men at that time, and the women they were afraid of them. Basically, the men were afraid of the women and the gifts that they had.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now it's clearer to me what he was saying. Okay, so and I never did get the full name. If I did, of the other gentleman's name, EPI, Epi. But anyway, here's his response. Yeah, it was in there earlier, y'all, and I wasn't paying attention. So it says, in their actions used towards others, 3 things ought to be considered. First, the manner of their consulting thereupon. Next, their part as instruments. And last, their master's part, who put the same in execution. As to their consultancies thereupon, they use them often, or he's saying oftis, in the churches where they convene for adoring. At what time their master inquiring at them what they would beat. Every one of them propounds unto what wicked turn they would have done, either for obtaining of riches or for revenging them upon any whom they have malice at, who granting their demands, as no doubt willingly he will, since it is to do evil. He teaches them the means whereby they may do the same. As for little trifling, y'all, I fell out. I was wondering, I'm sorry, y'all, where we get the word trifling. I'm sorry, y'all. Because in the melanated community, boy, that word trifling, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? So that's just so funny to me. But anyway, as for little trifling turns that women have to do with, he causeth them to joint dead corpse, and to make powders thereof, mixing such other things there amongst as he give unto them. Whew. Okay. So,
necromancy, corpses. They use dead folks for stuff.
Well,
they were making potions. There's 2 things he's saying about them. They cast their wiles on people. You know, women are seductive. I picked up that too. He don't like them because they're seductive anyway. And then that he said they use potions and necromancy, dead folks.
Mhm.
And
to make powders.
And powders and potions.
So in other words, we finna break this on down clearly. Okay, he gonna try to just sit up and claim that they're using their sexuality as women into the mix. Okay, so that would tie into you hearing folks talk about sexual rituals and all of that. And then when he's talking about the dead corpse and making of powders, I think of root work. Okay, so you think about voodoo, you think in that light, on that part. Now, the thing that tripped me out when he up there talking about some that it says, for the first manner of their consulting thereupon, next their part as instruments, and last their master's part. So it almost sounds who puts the same in execution. So it's almost sounding like that folks are coming to the quote witches for consultation. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that's how it works when you got the spiritual oracle that you need to go to them. And this still happens today, okay? You got the spiritual oracle that you go to for consultation on certain things, and they mix you up some root work, mix you up a little potion, put in your little tea, this, that, and the third to handle some things, okay? But what was strange to me when he talked about it, as to their consultations thereupon, they use them often, or the most, because he said oftest, in the churches where they convene for adoring. That shocked me to hear him say that they were using it in the churches, because he was the main one throughout the text saying that, that the church is really the one that only supposed to be using it under the authority of God, capital G, small o, small d.
Now, I hear in that there is a commerce problem there, that the women are supplanting what he's done put in the churches to lead people astray, and the women are making money of the other people, the parishioners, by doing their craft in there, reading people's fortunes and telling what the Most High is saying, and doing potions. And so he don't like it. They don't like it.
Now, that very well could be the case. Now, that could be the case now. That could be the case. We know. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brother Sean.
You could also look at it from the aspect that they were even still having infighting and deciding who's going to get what here, this, that, or the other. And some of the indigenous people that decided to side with them was using magic on their enemy. Trying to figure out a way to protect themselves, because they know that they had pissed some of everybody off.
Right.
So basically, they operating from a standpoint of fear at that time, not a position of power. Because he's discussing everything that he fears.
Right.
That's true. That's true. And he's been consistent throughout that. And speaking of, just real quick, Sis Cheryl has sent me an article when we first started the series, but I never had a chance to read it, and it was saying Witchcraft on the High Seas, King James and the North Berwick Witch Trials. Okay?
Right.
So it says 16th century Scotland was a tempestuous place. The Protestant Reformation was fresh, and it appeared to be under constant threat. Religion and monarchy were intertwined. Okay, so King James was a Protestant, right? So Mary, Queen of Scots, had returned to her homeland to find the government had initiated the reform without her consent. She worked. Now remember, they saying this took place in, when did they say, 1600s, right? Okay.
She was Catholic. She was a Catholic.
Okay, and Demonology was released in 1597, okay? So it says Mary, Queen of Scots, had returned to her homeland to find the government had initiated the reform without her consent. She worked out a compromise which allowed her to return to practice, there we go, retain, okay, they didn't spell that right, or they spelled it a little different, to retain, to practice the Catholic Mass, while it remained illegal in the rest of Scotland. Most of us know her eventual sad fate, to be captured and imprisoned by her own people, only to escape to the realm of her cousin, Elizabeth I in England, where she was imprisoned again. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
No, she was beheaded.
Yes. Okay, so due to the Due to these circumstances, Queen Mary was forced to abdicate her throne to her son, James, who was just 13 months of age. Mary had hoped that her separation from her son would be temporary and that Elizabeth would come to her aid and to restore her to the throne. How could she have known that her cousin would become her dealer and eventually sign her death warrant?
Yep.
Young King James the Fourth of Scotland later became, or was it the sixth? The sixth, sorry, of Scotland, later to become King James I of England, was left essentially orphaned. His father, Henry Stuart, I can't wait till we get into the series about the ancient Europeans or the ancient royal bloodline, because these names, I can't wait. But anyway, his father, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, had been killed in a plot that Queen Mary may or may not have been involved in prior to her imprisonment. He was raised by people hungry for both secular and religious control in a strict Protestant mindset. A series of regents ruled Scotland until James came of age. Many of these men were killed or died under dubious circumstances. Protestants had plotted against his own Catholic mother, and Catholic plotters would eventually plan the famous gunpowder plot against himself, which infamously brought Guy Fawkes into the history books. An attempt on his own life in his young adulthood got so close that he himself wrestled the would-be assassin in his royal chamber, pinning him down while calling for the guard. Under these circumstances, fearing plots on your life is not paranoia, it's a reality. Let me see. It is important to note that the Protestant Reformation brought about a change in the way witchcraft was viewed in Europe. The Catholic Church wasn't in the business of rooting out witches. In fact, the official stance of the Catholic Church was to deny that witchcraft existed. Not that people weren't practicing it, but the church viewed it as a silly superstition and insisted that there was no power in it. The Roman Catholic Church did punish heresy against the church during the Inquisition, and heresy could be construed with witchcraft, but not always. And the Catholic Church had been tolerant of local festivals and allowed local deities to be modified into the cult of the saints, which enabled folk customs and beliefs to continue to some degree. The Reformation
may I interject here?
Yes, sure thing, sis.
Okay, a couple of things. One, Catholic Church was something other than where you get Roman Catholic Church, okay? And the early protesters, Protestants, okay, had come from many different angles, and his birth circumstances and the early childhood and not being able to trust anyone, it'll come out soon that yes, what you're reading is so but not so at the same time. That's why you see him go from side to side, because he's also trying to guard something so that it can come up later in another place called here. And it'll come out. It's misconstrued in some respects. Some of it he did do the way that it says that he did, and other things just didn't happen with those people. and it has to come out. Plus, it'll be in there about Shakespeare and Bacon and who changed what he wanted out there, but what he had to do, like even sometimes right now, you're seeing words come out of somebody's mouth, but that's not what he's signing as executive orders. Those executive orders are the joint, okay? And they helping you right now. And that last one that he signed yesterday is threefold, and it's beautiful. So I'm just saying there's some things that have to be clarified, but sometimes you got to get the story the way it is so that you can put it with other pieces. And most of the people these days have not really been given any kind of history, even though that was not put together, not given lately properly or truly. And our story has to be rewoven in there. And Mr. Octatonus won last night or Sunday night. He did an excellent job. I mean, he was calm, cool, and harmonious, just giving the facts of Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and then he was getting into Tennessee, and boom, here comes the thing. So everything is connected there. But you'll get the thing with SCOTUS, and that's why also Red Tie is talking about SCOTUS, because SCOTUS is the lineage of his mother. That's why I keep talking. I can't say everything right now, but it's all going to come out, and it's all about us, and it's all beautiful. So,
and thank you, sis, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because when we get to the next series, after we finish Demonology and we get on the ancient royal bloodlines. Baby, I know you know where I'm going with that, sis Lioness. It's gonna straight blow y'all wig back. So woo, that's all. Okay. So let me finish this up. But yes, thank you for that, sis Lioness, because when I've read what I've read, I said, oh, hell no. Now it's connected.
Hang in there. Everybody just got to hang in there and do their homework.
Do your own work. That's right, indeed. So where we go? The Catholic Church. Oh, the Reformation ushered in a new brand of severe and intolerant thinking. The Catholic Church was labeled as adulterous and pagan. A new dichotomy of viewing the word through a dualistic lens of good and evil was preached. Satan and his demons were everywhere, and their mission was to take down the good Christians through the work of his soldiers, namely the witches. Okay? So that kind of lines up to what we've been seeing in this demonology with the epi dude. Keep saying that the witch's master is Satan. All right, so here we go. So here we have a king separated from his mother at a very young age, raised in the midst of plots, murders, in this tense religious climate. What else do we know about King James? He was considered an intellectual. Well, we should know that based on reading Demonology, based on him commissioning for the Bible to be written, and it was also said that he also funded a lot of other writers as well. So he was considered an intellectual. He had a sharp mind and took a keen interest in many subjects. It seems that his interest could often border on obsession. For example, it was said at one point that he loved hunting and would become obsessed with taking down certain stags to the point of neglecting important business of the crown. Let me see. He was eventually betrothed to Anne of Denmark, which was a political arrangement, Anne being the king of Denmark's sister. Although most royal marriages were arranged for political reasons, in the best case scenario, the couple would grow fond of each other, perhaps fall in love with each other. But history tells us that this was not the case for King James of Scotland and Anne of Denmark. Apparently, their relationship was to remain aloof James seemed to prefer the company of men. Okay, so this is this whole rumor about him being gay. Indeed, he was known for enjoying time spent in what we might have called today a man cave, playing cards and bantering with his male friends. There have been suggestions that his affections for men went beyond the platonic. Let me see. How much these attributes and affluence affected James' beliefs and actions regarding witchcraft, we can only guess. The Reformation and severe Protestant preachers like John Knox most certainly influenced his worldview. Did his lack of an immediate family make it difficult for him to be emotionally available to his wife, or make him into a hard person lacking in humane compassion? Did his lack of a strong female presence cause him to mistrust women? Did his obsessive personality trigger from psychological issues? These questions we could never know the answers, but we do know precisely when his obsession with witchcraft began. In 1589, King James sailed to Denmark to retrieve his betrothed. Anne was supposed to sail to Scotland alone, but her ship was forced to turn back due to storms. So James made the Gallic effort to setting sail to fetch her. The Germanic countries were another Reformation hotbed, and witch hunting was in full swing in Denmark. Both Protestant and witch hunting were adopted with gusto in the region. It is known that King James met with Niels Hemmingsen, a Danish Lutheran theologian and expert on demonology. Hemmingsen had written a book on the topic in 1575. So, while we can't say for certain what the two discussed, it has been speculated that James adopted the notion of the satanic pact from Hemmingsen. This is the idea that witches make a deal with a devil in return for power, a key belief of witch hunters at the time, but one that is believed by modern scholars to have had any reality in the actual practices of the accused. James was fascinated by what he learned in Denmark. He must have felt that his eyes were open to a whole new world of existing evil right under his nose all along. Always eager to learn new subjects, James apparently absorbed this knowledge hungrily. Let me see. Upon the return voyage to Scotland, the king's entourage was beset by a terrible storm. The tempest caused the ship to turn back and dock in Norway to wait it out. Because the company carried royal persons, they were escorted by the Danish Royal Navy. It seemed that those involved, that the ship carrying the king was jolted more so than others. The admiral in charge of the Danish fleet was insistent that witchcraft was the cause. And due to James' recent education about the dangers of witchcraft, he suspected it to be true. Witches in both Scotland and Denmark were suspected, and witch hunts were launched in both countries. Coincidentally, a peasant woman by the name of Gillias Duncan had just been accused of witchcraft by her employer. David Seaton, when it became known that she had been curing illness with seemingly magical methods, Seaton was sure the devil was at work. Her interrogation elicited the name, they should have just said torture. That ain't no doggone interrogation, but whatever. Her interrogation elicited the names of other witches supposedly in cohort with Miss Duncan, who were also interrogated. The confession became more and more grandiose until they finally revealed that this supposed coven had conspired to poison and murder the king. Oh, boy. This confession combined with the king's Denmark disaster culminated in the launch of the North Berwick witch trials. So let me see. I'm trying to get through this, y'all. Being a man of a strong curiosity, James was personally involved with the witch trials, which was unusual for a monarch. More than 100 people were arrested and accused. King James took part in some of the interrogations. Many of the accused confessed under torture, such as deeds as what is called the obscene kiss, the act of kissing Satan on his ass, they say posterior, when swearing allegiance to him. Y'all. As an aside, acts like this in the confession are one way that some scholars are now differentiating between people who were accused willy-nilly versus people who were actually using ancient pre-Christian shamanistic practices. Those who were really engaged in real pagan sorcery were a tiny minority, and it is only recently that scholars such as Emma Wilby and Carlo Ginsberg have brought validity to this theory. But those confessions bear little resemblance to the vast majority, which seem clearly built around the expectations of the witch interrogators. In other words, the interrogators ask leading questions involving the information found in witch hunting manuals like the Malleus Magnificorum, published in 1487, such as, when did you make a pact with the devil? Eventually, the accused would answer whatever the accuser wanted to hear to make the torture stop. Acts such as kissing the devil on the derriere are found nowhere in the few records, which do seem to demonstrate true shamanic practice. More on this in future articles, whatever. Okay, the North Berwick Confessions fit squarely with the parameters of what the witch manuals outline, indicating that the confessions were led by the accusers under the duress of torture, or sometimes methods that were not considered torture, such as sleep deprivation, which can produce hallucinations. The trials reveal a massive plot whereby large numbers of witches traveled to North Berwick to meet at night inside a church. Their meetings were presided over by the devil himself, and King James was described as the devil's greatest enemy, all the world. Wait a minute, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So according to this, I got to take a sip on that, y'all.
Yep.
Now I'm sipping on water. So according to this, the witch is like, oh, okay, so you're going to sit up and keep torturing folks. So they did get together, according to this little article, and made his behind enemy number one. This is really interesting. The witches supposedly began their plot with the use of, y'all, baby, I can't make this up. The witches supposedly began their plot with the use of weather magic, first to stall Anne's departure, then to disrupt Jane's return. Miss Duncan confessed to meeting with a Danish witch to form their plot. It is telling that witch hunt had already been underway in Denmark by this time. And the Scots did not initially blame the storms on witchcraft until they realized that Danes did. The accused also confessed to using image magic and plotting to use toad poison on the king. Image magic was the act of causing harm to someone by manipulating, y'all, baby, they giving it up in this article. Image magic was the act of causing harm to someone by manipulating a small image of them, similar to what we know today as voodoo, right? Voodoo dolls. And toad poison was retrieved by hanging toads upside down to collect poison from their skins. Okay, so hopefully, family, what we're reading in Demonology is starting to make more sense with what they're saying in this article.
These right confessions,
exactly.
The thing about the hind part, kissing the double hind part, that was earlier in this.
Yep.
Oh, see, I had forgot.
Yep. And that'll come out when you get to your other topic next week or whatever.
Baby, woo. Confessions. I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
One of the things that you're talking about, his homosexuality, his love for men, that translated into a lot of Bible verses. And that's that play on Saul and Jonathan, his son, and David, his friend. And they had a lot of super closeness in that. And then, of course, Saul with the Witch of Endor that we spoke about calling up Samuel, and how that was so repulsive that he lost his kingdom. And he became, not favored by God, is at the capital G, little O, and little D. Mm-hmm. So he influenced a lot of scripture changing with what he believed to be wrong.
Makes sense. Yep. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because they have these, one of the things I was reading when I was reading Samuel, and I couldn't understand, how come they had stockings on? Nylons weren't invented until some years later. So it couldn't have been around the time that they put this story about Saul and Jonathan and David in the Old Testament. So somebody else had to have written that. And since King James was in the 1500s and they did wear stockings, then that makes sense that he wrote all that junk.
Well, be careful about that. Just think it if you will, if you want, but do further research, because almost everything that you think went with each era was there before.
It's all repeated. But matter of fact, David or Solomon was in the 1500s anyway. And the history.
So that's why I say a lot of things have to come out to clear up this story. And there's a big gap in between when he gets married and what happens during that marriage when they were very, very close and loving, and what happened. Why I sent out some other videos as well. And there's still more than what I sent out. There's far more than what I sent out. So get what you can from here, but don't think this is the end-all and be-all, because it's not, and it's not everything in there, although it has been printed and given to people as the full story. So as I said earlier, everything almost that you've learned, have an open mind that you got to throw almost all of it out in a little while.
Yeah, because they told it in pieces, switched out folks, switched out dates, switched identities. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. This is a really nice build up to when we get to the next series when we deal with the ancient European royals. Okay, so these confessions seem so fantastical that James did not initially believe them. That is until one of the accused, Agnes Sampson, was placed before him. When he professed skepticism, apparently Miss Sampson asked James to come close so she could whisper something into his ear. She revealed private details about James and Anne's wedding night that should have been impossible for her to know. That tipped the scales, and from that point on, James was an avid believer in witchcraft. It should be noted that the royal wedding nights were not private events during this period. The consummation of the royal marriage bed was, in fact, a public event observed by important persons at court. Okay, and we should know that looking at some of those old movies. That's what they
flashed the sheet so they could see the spots.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, yeah. So, okay, so because so much hinged on a royal union, witnesses were important. And in an age before media celebration, who did people gossip about? The royals. So it is not outside the realm of possibility that peasants would have heard some salacious gossip about the king's wedding night. But Samson would use this information against herself is very but why Samson would use this information against herself is very perplexing. Perhaps it was just another example of giving them what they want to end the ordeal once and for all. In any case, this experiment left James a firm believer in the dark forces of the occult, which in turn had a profound impact on his nation. Scotland would become one of the worst perpetuators of witch hunting, accusing and killing a higher proportion per capita of its own population than most of its European neighbors. The North Berwick witch trials affected James so personally that he would write his own treatise on the dark arts not long after. And there we go. His book, Demonology, was written in 1597, and it was the first expose on witchcraft penned in the English language, just as the Malleus Magnificorum before it. James' Demonology became a key tool in witch hunters' kit, and it was used extensively in both Scottish and English witch trials to follow. Okay, so again, this article, and thank you, Sis Cheryl, for sending this to me. It was absolutely excellent. It's off of, the name of the publication is Owlcation. So Owlcation, and the title of the article is Witchcraft on the High Seas, King James and the North Berwick Witch Trials. And this came out in 2016. Okay, let me go to 832. All right, let me go to 832. Just a second. 832, your line is open.
Rhonda!
Hey,
Sandra,
brother.
my sisters from other listeners. Feathers up!
Feathers up,
Feathers down! Sean, my brother from another mother! Mount Olympus! Let's get them thunderbolts! Yeah!
Indeed, bro.
I don't want to sound disconcerted, but what I'm hearing you just lay out, Rhonda, you know, last week when I called in, it got somewhat interrupted, but I wanted to say that, you know, this technology, as Brother Malcolm used to point out for us in some of his commentary, you got these people who create a problem. Now, you know, I don't want to make this a color thing. Unfortunately, they brought up the concept of Caucasianism, white supremacy. All these things are theories that were created by people who have a complex. So I'm not going to get into diagnosis. I'm not a psychiatrist and all that kind of thing. We understand projection. We see it coming out of the mouth of the White House on a regular basis. Okay? So anyone who can objectively look at what you just pointed out, the predominant incursion of these activities were directed primarily at women. Very few warlocks, if any, were brought up under the course of what is considered witchcraft. Secondly, as a category, particularly here in North America, they were really, if I understand correctly in the limited teaching and history that I was taught,
they were predominantly midwives. And midwives in the birthing process was being steeped in what they wanted to call either natural order, animism, spirituality, Buddha, as you said, taking and incorporating what had been imposed upon them. Some people call it, especially in the islands in Cuba, and I grew up in Miami, Santeria. If you're familiar with Santeria,
Yeah.
Santeria is to incorporate Catholicism with the spirituality of the local indigenous belief system. But here again, depending on whether or not you want to, we're using a foreign language. We're using English. We're using the language of the oppressor to describe our phenomena. Okay? Which is an example of how Santeria, voodoo, whatever you want to call it, was using the oppressor's religious dogma incorporated in what used to be their natural way of existing. Okay? So this unholy patriarchy, and Sandra is absolutely correct, because much of the homosexuality that exists to this very day comes out of the agenda of the Catholic Church and the Pope and so-called celibacy. Okay? You got two forms of what I'm going to describe as demonic, insidious behavior. Having been raised a Catholic, I can speak on this, in a confident fashion, as well as, unfortunately, there was a period of time as a young man, I was through the altar boy process, all right? You got 50% of the priests impregnating nuns. Do you know about these infamous stories about nuns having babies' bones in the walls of the church buildings and the nunneries? Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Then you have the other sick bastards not only raping and deflowering boys. I mean, where else do you get this? There's an organization, I can't remember the name of it, the National Organization of Man-Boy Love or some crap like that. I mean, you've probably heard of that as well. I mean, where does this stuff come from? Now, you get it's a rhetorical question. I ask you to answer it. I'm pointing out an agenda, an overall overarching agenda, okay? So you have this conspiratorial process of creating a demon. You tell people that they're born in sin, okay, literally, that they are born in sin. So then you are telling them what psychologically? From the day you are born, you are evil, okay?
Right.
Because you are evil, now you're under the sway of some form of demon activity. Okay? Who is going to help you escape something that's inescapable because you were born into it? You see the technology I'm describing here? And who's going to provide you the answer? The motherfucker that created the demon. Okay? So, create a problem. I put that problem on you. And by the way, that's the Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades, how many wars, I don't care what wars you look at in the entire history of these so-called people telling us that they're the European Caucasians that are pale-skinned invaders today, the colonists and the imperialists of today. Everywhere in their history, they have done nothing but commit warfare. Everywhere they have traveled over the face of this earth, they cannot get into any peaceful, harmonious relationship with the indigenous population anywhere on this planet. And they are selling them what? And I'm not holding King James actually personally responsible. I'm just saying he created an agenda. One half of it was demonology that you're discussing the last few weeks now, describing here. The other half is the King James Bible, which was taken by the Catholic Church and create the so-called solution, right? The religious dogma is what I'm saying. So the demonology is describing the existing manner in which people express themselves. Now, if I understand you've been saying the last couple of weeks, you're saying capital G, little o, little d is the God in their book. Capital G, capital O, capital D is the God in existence in the world. Am I, correct me if I'm in error here, if I'm misunderstanding what y'all are proposing, is the two different connotations. Capital God, capital G, capital O, capital D, is something that is in all of us as beings from birth, as opposed to the capital G, little o, little d concept that you're being fostered upon is you're born in sin and evil. The exact opposite. You feel?
Yep.
And the only way to correct such thing is I must listen to someone else outside of self with an agenda.
Yep.
Have I gotten that correct?
Yep. You're
so
on the money with it.
From birth to death, because again, remember, the Catholic Church has now imposed this not only in the Catholic Church. There is 600 plus denominations and counting of so-called Christianity that on one hand claims they're not Catholic, though they're basically Catholic light. Okay? They believe in the same agenda, two things of Catholicism, which is the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, no female in that mix, right? If there's no female in that mix, isn't that where homosexuality comes from? Isn't that where patriarchy comes from? Isn't that also an imbalance by definition? So you have a complete total disrespect for half of humankind, and all human beings are a product of male and female, not one or the other. That shit sounds psychotic to me. I don't know. I'm just, making an observation. Secondly, now you're born here, the only true pure birth is the virgin birth of Jesus Christ without a human male father. Isn't that interesting? The exact opposite of all the other shit you just said, that the God concept is based only on a masculine patriarchy. You feel what I'm saying? I know this shit is convoluted as hell, but I mean, am I missing something here at this point? Then everything that existed up until then in most indigenous populations, and you go and study them objectively, removing this colonialist, imperialist agenda, if you can precede or predate it and go back and look at these objectively, these people and these populations that existed before European invasion, did they not have some form of a matriarchal belief system? Did they not have some form of being more in harmonious existence and coalescing with the physical plane, with the material world, and with the other world, whether it's the spiritual world, the ancestors, however it is you would describe it? Isn't that what existed before they invaded with their dogma of the Bible and the gun? So now I'm going to put a psychology together. That's what I'm seeing demonology to be. A psychology together of describing what existed as evil and the solution that they will provide, obviously, as good, right? So now you've got the dichotomy of good versus evil, right? And where does exorcism come in that, by the way? Have you noticed that?
Great point, brother. Great point. The only thing that I just wanted to point out, and I know you know this, but just to be clear, that all that we are describing in demonology, the quote-unquote Caucasian weren't even involved because they weren't in power.
No. I understand that we're still talking about melanated origins, okay?
Yeah.
I get that.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you know anything about the first three popes were so-called African.
Exactly.
But it has gone on a course of perversion under the direction of these people that we think as the contemporary Europeans, primarily pursuing a tailskin agenda. And these same people, and by the way, some people may not realize that originally Adolf Hitler was a Catholic. Originally when you're talking Napoleon, when you're talking Charlemagne, you're talking about all these people. They have bestowed on them the power, authority as an emperor, as a monarch, as a king, by being Catholic.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? By bestowing and paying homage and paying tribute to Catholicism. Now, when this Protestantism that you're saying that King James holds to, okay, this became because people don't understand. Martin Luther did not break away from Catholicism. He broke away from the evil corruption of the government of the structure. Okay, that's why people who think that they call themselves protesters or Protestants, but they still hold to the same tenets. They believe in the Holy Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, however you call it. They believe in resurrection. They believe in this Trinity and Easter, and you know what I'm saying? All these things at Christmas, all that stuff. The only thing you take off of it is the word Catholic. So what are you protesting? You're not protesting the essence of what we just described. You're not protesting that these people have created a scam. Like I said, they create this thing that they call the devil, Satan, Lucifer, evil, whatever. They then project upon it as some evil thing, as if it's separate and apart, as opposed to, like you look at the yin and the yang. Everything is in symbiosis, right? There is a good part to your nature, there's a bad part to your nature. Anyone who's intelligent enough, who's lived long enough, understands. You have some good days, you have some bad days, right? But you're not purely evil, and you're not essentially squeaky clean. There's no such thing as the extremities. But we have extremism being fostered by this agenda. And these people have projected a psychosis that is literally global, worldwide, where they are convincing people that there is some evilness, whatever that evil is, and of course you're saying you're serving Satan, you're serving the devil. And then all the stuff you just described in this book, right? And bring it on. And then they projected it on the women that they said were witches performing witchcraft, right? And then they were performing their thing. Midwifery was not under the control of doctors either, were they? And did they not make doctors an exclusively male career? Did they not turn around and make judges exclusively male? Did they not turn around and make barristers, lawyers of the court, exclusively male? You see what I'm saying? In other words, they were stretched and made the whole existence of being female what? Worth less? Borderline evil? And if you were not a midwife, if you were not a nurse, then you were a Jezebel, weren't you? Every woman was a prostitute except who? The Virgin Mary. And that's exactly how she's described. The Virgin Mary. Did the Virgin Mary have any other children besides Jesus?
Yes.
I believe he had siblings, didn't he?
Yes.
Yep.
You see, the people are so stupid in this, this mindset that's been controlling them that they don't even look at the simple, logical things of real life. Real life. And you're listening to a man who's going to tell you he has no sex, which, buy that if you want. Got a bridge over here in Brooklyn, right? That he's celibate their entire life. That he's going to advise people on how to have a relationship with the opposite sex, and they have none. And half of them are screwing boys and men, and the other half are impregnating nuns who supposed to be married to Jesus.
Right.
I'm going to step down off of that by saying this, my sister. Thank you. Oh, and Sister Lioness, too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. My other sister from another mister. This is despicable. It is absolutely despicable. I don't want to get caught up and bogged down in playing the game in reverse that, hate the white man or all white men because it's a white versus black thing. No, I'm just talking about an agenda is what I'm hearing you describe tonight.
Right.
Whole concept of creating evil and a demon and projecting it on womanhood, because that's what I'm hearing. I may be wrong. I'm open to correction. But that everything from your womb was evil at birth, And when you're here, it can only be cleansed by a white man in a white robe. But in private, he prays to a black Madonna. Isn't that something?
Yep.
Thank you, my sister.
Right.
Y'all keep up the great work.
Okay,
Brother Man,
thank you so much.
Brother Man.
Yeah.
832, are you still there?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's still open.
Okay, I felt everything that you said, okay? And I say to you, as my brother, old now, I know that she's reading this. Let me show you where I'm coming from. I see your angle, and I see what she's reading from a different angle. It is all within that big umbrella of the cosmos, okay, of what happened here. Even though what happened here and on this mother has to be and is being revealed as in a truthful way, and that's all not out yet. And all I say to you is I send you a gigantic, warm hug and say to you, release, because what you just said was what was perpetrated. Release that now. My offer to you, my consoling to you, my love to you, okay? Release that now. Acknowledge it. You have to accept, not you, the you that I'm saying right now is a general you for everybody who hasn't come to grasp and accept and acknowledge and then release what we found out already. Because the more that you, not you just by yourself, but the fact that it's on the table now with the rest of this is good because it needs to come up. Again, I say to everyone, shake it off, because this is shake, rattle, and roll time now with Mama, because the whole story, the true story has to come out. The true Catholicism, which just means holy people, holy meaning sacred, holy meaning righteously living, okay, and caring and loving, that's who we still are. It's the core, the LP40, the spark that's in you is still there. Relinquish what they have perpetrated upon you, and what some of us all drank the Kool-Aid for a while. You know better now that Kool-Aid, and that's what you're expressing to others now, okay?
Yep.
Let that go. Love yourself enough to say, we got this now. It's over, and we're going to do the just thing. You got something that other people do not have, the ability to see and to think this out. I say to you, think this out now. If you have, I'm not running your show either, Rhonda.
No, you're good, sis. You're good. You're good.
This is an opportunity for everyone, and we're just being the catalyst, 832 and let's say 728, okay? And 832 is good because that makes you a 13 that has the 1 and the 3. Together you're the 4, the foundation of everything. We're building a vast, beautiful, wonderful, magnificent new shit now. And you are part of the cadre to do that, and you have a rightful, honorable, and a sustaining and maintaining place there in the forefront.
Yes.
So now what we got to do for ourselves, for whomever else is going to come with us, to go ahead and do this the rightful way, okay? We know that the shit was bad. We know that the shit was not as it was said to be, as not what was portrayed us to be and what was portrayed upon us and projected upon us. If we keep talking about it now over and over and over again, not that, make this your last time to do that, except for that which you haven't gotten out yet. And you have so much to offer us greater than that. okay? And I send you my love. I send you my love. That's all I can say right now, okay?
Oh, thank you,
right.
Sister La. I only say one thing in parting, and this is as a father of daughters. I put out a caution. I won't say it's a warning. I'll put out a caution that we do not fall into the trap of going to the other extreme. For example, this Me Too, and you probably do a show on this.
No, fuck
Ron.
Me Too, okay?
This Me Too.
Yeah,
this
it's a bunch of bull crap.
That's what I'm saying. We can't take in any of this bullshit anymore.
Right, because
no
we know
bullshit.
it's bullshit. We already
no
know
more
it's bullshit.
We just
already
about
know.
love. We're gonna do it right, and we ain't gonna be doing the same shit. Okay, we not.
Nope.
Nor are we going to be doing something that is diametrically opposed to the goodness that if that's a good word. Okay, the righteousness that we're talking about. We're not gonna do that. If we falter right now in our verbiage, in our thinking, in our loving, then that will happen. But I'm saying to you, I know for a fact that ain't going to happen because I'm not going to let it happen. And I know once you accept the love, the hug that I'm giving you and that others are giving you and that you're giving to others because you're doing a great service also to yourself and to others, to your children, to your daughters.
Right.
But we ain't putting up with none of that bullshit no more.
Sure
None.
not.
None.
Sure
we
not.
ain't going that way. We relinquishing all of those robes. We getting back to who we are and beyond.
Right. That's right. Indeed.
I say that with nothing
week,
but love for you and respect, okay?
And I thank you on that. And in parting, Rhonda, next week they're going to put the whitewash out with Mary Queen of Scots, if you hadn't heard that. That's being released next week.
Too.
Yeah,
Ooh,
okay.
Because it's going to come out. I'm going to give you little inclinations on Friday, Saturday. But watch the movie, and then we need the dialogue on it, discussions, because they're going to put the truth in there. And we're going to break it up and spread it around and add our truth to it, too.
To it as well.
Okay?
Absolutely.
I don't care if they have 29,000 only so-called white people in it. It don't fucking matter because that's not the truth.
We
but
know,
the truth
right.
will come out of that. It will come out of that. And if ye and thee and thou know the truth and know inside of you who you are, you could tell them, fuck you, this is the right thing, okay? But they're going to put the truth in there. You know why? Because they're afraid of us women and men now.
That's
because
right.
they know the women who are coming back, the sisters coming back here, we going to just love our men. And our men are going to respect us, okay? Or they won't be around.
So you see how the president ignores his Scottish men.
No, he doesn't. You can't speak to me about that man, okay? Because there's a whole lot of shit that y'all don't know about that man. And that man will be gone in a little while. And then there will be people who will be on the ground. I'm not saying you. And then, look, it's what is being triggered here. This is a spiritual, high consciousness changing of all of the shit back to the goodness and beyond. Because we had to go through this to get the diamonds and pearls and the emeralds and the lapis lazuli and everything else so that you can be that crystalline being now who is nothing but love. Nothing but love.
Well, thank you for
You're welcome.
the
I
love
truly
and the
mean
well
it.
wishes. And because I see the
thank
time
you,
coming
brother.
up on it, and they probably about to kick me off, Rhonda. So
okay, no worries. But I do want to say to you that I am extremely, extremely proud of you.
Yeah.
I have seen you grow spiritually, and I'm about to tear up. It touches my heart. So keep doing what you're doing, and just know you're everything you need. All you need is you. Keep doing what you're doing, creating your vessel, cleaning up your bloodline, and creating. And just know, the sisters, we got this.
We got this, and we got you.
We got it. Trust it. Exactly. And when we got it, you're including in that being got. So just want to put that out there before you get kicked off. I'm very, very proud of you, brother. So
thank you,
peace
all
and
of
love.
my queen mothers.
Love you.
All
love
right.
you.
Okay, love you, brother.
Love you.
Okay, peace and love. All
Okay.
right, all right. That's our guy, 832 boy.
If you still
All right.
listening, bro. If you still listening, bro. Now you see why I was hollering at you about the seat.
Yes.
It'll get a little clearer to you.
Yeah, it'll get clearer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we're coming up on overtime. Hopefully they don't get funky with us. I don't see anybody in the queue. The person that was in the queue, they left. Not in the queue and online. But you have to dial 929. Sis Lioness just got kicked off. You have to dial 929-477-3858 to continue with us with overtime. Less than a minute. 929-477-3858. Ain't that a B? Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to continue. But very, very good drop, 832. But extremely, extremely proud of you, brother. All right. So hopefully Sis Lioness can make it back in before overtime. All right, so here we go.
I just want to say,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
isn't it something how the brainwashing is losing its power?
Yeah.
At this time, everybody's coming to respect each other. You can't do nothing about who you are, so it's better to respect each other and only fight your enemies and love everybody else if you have to fight at all. So it's really a great to hear that. I mean, it touched my heart too, because I understand.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
I understand where he's coming from because we have to stop that. They put the program out here. They then played the record over and over and over and over again. It's time to break. Time to break the record. Time to break the tape. Time to break the brainwashing.
Right, and the beauty of this all, although some may not see it as beauty right now, but the more and more we get into it, you will see the beauty, because those of us that see everything that is going on, you are, there goes sis. Let me bring sis back on. Okay, sis. Glad you was able to make it back on. I saw where you had got kicked off.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Those of us that are at this point where we see everything for what it is,
right?
We are at the forefront. We are creating that new realm. Okay? The others will come. They're going to follow.
Right, they have to.
So we don't have to be so concerned about everybody getting to that certain point. Because, again, it only takes a few. And the few, we already have it. We already have it.
You don't have to worry about getting even anymore, because getting even already gotten done by a power greater than us. As a whole, we're getting even because we don't have to do it by ourselves. Everything's changing because we're waking up. Everything's changing.
Right. Indeed. Very well said, sis. So great things are happening. Again, this information that we're bringing forth is just, again, unraveling, or as Sis Lioness says, peeling the layers back from the onion once again. Because even with these ancient royals, and it was one person in the chat that was arguing wanted to argue with me via chat. Well, you don't know what you're saying when you're saying ancient royals. I know exactly what I'm saying with ancient royals because it's deeper than the quote European kingdom.
Right.
Folks go all the way back
That's
to several iterations. Exactly. Several iterations of mother. Okay? Several iterations. Okay? So we're coming back full circle, swinging back around, and then we're going beyond that. So to be really, really honest, y'all, although we've went through tough times, although we have experienced the concept of hell, this is really very beautiful.
Right.
What you are doing now is being written for future generations. So just like we going over these texts, like, yeah, King James did such so, blah, blah, did such. What you're doing now is being written about and will be used for the future generation. We will be known as the ancestors who ushered in a new realm. We will be known as the ancestors who came out of physical and mental and spiritual bondage into total abundance, where we created a realm of total abundance, where our future generations will enjoy. So you will be able to witness this. You are witnessing this that's going on. Okay? That is the beauty behind it, behind all of this. So, all right, family. So here we go. So where did we leave off? Okay, so we talked about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
Say 5 was up next.
Yeah.
I say 5 was up next, but before.
5 was up. Okay. Yep. 5 is up next. But before ye go further, permit me, I pray you, to interrupt you one word, which ye have put me in memory of by speaking of women. What can be the cause that there are 20 women given to that craft where there is one man? Okay, so 5, once again, like, okay, bro, I'm still going to sit up and ask you. Why is it 20 sisters that's into the craft of sorcery, occult, witchcraft versus to one man? So in other words, there's a 20-to-1 relationship. Epi goes, the reason is easy. For that sex is, boy, I tell you, Epi is an MF boy. He is a mother effer. The reason is easy. For as the sex is frailer than man, it is easier to be entrapped in these gross snares of the devil, as was well proved to be true by the serpent's deceiving of Eva. That's interesting that he said Eva, huh? Eva at the beginning, which makes him the homelier with the sex sin. So I'm like, okay, so I don't need to put nothing on that. I'm not sure, Brother Sean or Sis, if you wanted to put something on that. He had a lot of nerves.
He sure did. He was in James a lot.
That's self-explanatory.
Yeah, it is. It is. Sex is ass. Okay, so 5 goes, return now where you left. So in other words, no, bruh. Get back to the original point. So Epi goes, to some others at these times he teacheth how to make pictures of wax or clay, that by the roasting thereof, the persons that they bear the name of may be continually melted or dried away by continual sickness. Okay, so in other words, he's describing a spell, right?
Yep.
A ritual. A ritual.
Wax figures.
Yep.
You know, it's like Tharp, who made the dolls for creation. You know, the Egyptian pictograph,
right,
creating men out of clay. And so
I'm sorry, go ahead, sis. I didn't mean to break your thought.
That's the Egyptian mystery stuff, and that's the Merkaba and the Sephira on how they made humans. And so now he can take that clay and melt the humans away.
Okay, so you brought that up because the doggone guy up out of the chat room left, because this will prove my point of why I say the ancient royal bloodline. Okay, because just the fact that you brought up thought, you can also link thought to the Anunnaki, right? Or the Atlanteans, right?
Egyptians for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
All the way back.
Okay. But if you dig a little deeper, it goes back to that, because it's the same occult science or magic is what I'm getting at. So man is attributed to being the creator of life, when we know that is not the case.
Right.
So you get what I'm saying with that? So now they sitting up, bring it forward. Okay, now when you described about the clay and all of that and thought in them, and even if you take it back to the Atlanteans, and if you take it to the Anunnaki, at least in the Anunnaki's records, they do accredited their sister as the geneticist.
Nama.
Okay, so she had the science to create.
Right.
Okay, so it really wasn't them. They just put a stamp on it and said they were the gods, but she literally had the science or the genetics to do it, okay? So move it forward, where I'm going with this, the stamp was put on creation with a male connotation, okay? So the battles had already started to dethrone and overthrow the feminine divine in that creation process. So now here we, fast forward a couple of iterations of falls. Now we're at this particular time with the melanated European bloodline, because they come from those mentioned bloodlines, okay, the Anunnaki, some Atlanteans, however you want to put it, Thothnim. Fast forward, same iteration of players or bloodline. Now you gonna sit up and complain that women are making wax figures of stuff and basically performing rituals.
Right.
Okay, so that's where I was going with that. All right, so okay. To some others at the time, he teaches how to make pictures or wax or clays, that by the roasting thereof, the persons that they bear the name of may be continually melted or dried away by continual sickness. To some he gives such stones or powders as well help to cure or cast on diseases. Okay, so now I find that interesting. Now you sitting up here admitting that they could use root work stones or and powders. That's what we, today would call root work, to cure and or cast on disease. So these some powerful chicks then. These some powerful women. Okay? So, and to some he teaches kinds of uncouth poisons which mediciners understand not, for he is a fair cunninger than man in the knowledge of all occult properties of nature. Not that any of these means which he teaches them except the poisons which are composed of things natural, can of themselves help anything to these terms, that they are employed, but only being God's apes, God's plural, and that's the capital G small O-D-S, ape, as well in that as in all other things. Even as God by his sacraments, which are earthly of themselves, work a heavenly effect, though no ways by any cooperations in them. And as Christ by clay and spittle wrought together, open the, the eyes of the blind man. Yeah, so he's quoting John 9, okay? Now remember, this was written in 1597. He's quoting a scripture, so that lets you know that these scripts were already previously written, right? Okay, so just want to point that out. Okay, so suppose there was no virtue in that which he outwardly applied, so the devil will have his outward means to be shows as it were of his doing, which have no part of cooperation in his terms with him. How far that ever the ignorance be abused in the contrary. And as to the effects of the two former parties, to wit, the consultations and the outward means, they are so wonderful as I dare not allege any of them, without joining a sufficient reason of the possibilities thereof. So I'm going to stop. So, Brother Sean, you want to put something on there because you know he going to another big old long paragraph. I don't want to lose out them thoughts.
Right. You see how they got the I in place of the J? For one.
Which word? Where are we at?
Join.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Yep.
But he is allegedly quoting from John 9 with a J.
Right. So who threw that up in there? Right.
Okay.
Right.
What I want to point out is of things that are natural.
Mhm.
Not that any of these means which he teaches them. So he's saying that these sisters know shit that the devil didn't teach them.
Yep, that's what he said.
So how is he their master?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so I knew you would point that out.
And as Christ in all caps.
Sure did. So meaning us, the Christ within you, but I'm sorry. Yep, go ahead.
I was just thinking corporation because anything they put in all caps is either a corporation or something that's dead. We know what Christ means, but they didn't refer to him as Jesus.
Sure didn't.
It was Essos or something.
They ain't referred to him at all,
Mm-hmm.
other than Christ. Everything is God, the devil, and the king. As far
It's
as
true.
the hierarchy. And of course, the woman being demonized, but also respected, because they have to put so much time and attention into addressing this. Like I said, they were operating from a position of fear.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Yep, because the book really, to be honest, I mean, we know why they named it Demonology, but you know, it's the book on witches, or the book on the oracles, the women oracles, because that's all they have extensively went into talking about, how the sisters going behind their gods back, putting spells on people to get revenge, or people coming to them, paying them a little change to work up some spells. So,
well,
no, you're absolutely right.
You know, it took them 600 years to take us down, more than 600 years.
And now we know how they took us down.
Mhm. They couldn't fight us in battle. The battles they always lost. But this witchery stuff, they conquered us by changing our focus.
Yes. Yes, because once and I'll go. And I'm sure we're going to talk about this even more. And we've talked about it before. But and they tell on themselves throughout all of these texts. So just bear with me here, family. First of all, when I read that article that Sis Cheryl sent us, they admitted in that article, without really admitting it outrightly, that the royals and the people of that time were melanated, because they mentioned that the magic that the folks were using is that of voodoo. So right there is an admission within itself that these were melanated people, that they were melanated people. Okay, but remember, this was around Mother Earth that they were taking down the matriarch societies, because they could not conquer until those matriarch societies were taken down. Okay, so you had the fall of the matriarch societies within each one of these, whether you want to call them tribes, countries, nations, having within those societies the men and the women of the particular societies going against each other, being in conflict, and that's how we fail. Okay, so just now, like when we were speaking with Brother 832, and we said how as we're restoring it now, we enter and understand that there is a balance, and one respects the other. But the takedown was because of the fall of these matriarch societies. Okay, because the matriarch society is built on balance. That is why Ma'at is in the form of a woman, because it is balance. And what was instituted was, as we know, as patriarch, which is not in balance. So, yes, that's how we were defeated. It was the takedown of the matriarch. Because if the woman is the oracle, and we know that the women are the oracle, shit, they admitting it right here. They giving us all the proof we need up in here, right, that the women are the oracles. So what our men, our job is to tap into the spiritual realms and bring back the information and work with our men and say, okay, sweetie, I'm finna tell you how this MF finna come at you. they finna do XYZ 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, that's what I see. Okay, we got it from here. And then they could plan the strategy in the battle. That's why we were not able to be defeated. Because both worked in tandem. The woman was able to go to the spiritual realm and get the knowledge to see the future, to see what all angles that they were going to hit us at, and work with her partner who in the physical defeated the enemy. So when the takedown of the woman or the suppressing of the woman was breaking the connection with the spiritual realm, and instead they hijacked that particular sacredness of the woman to use it to stay in power and in control and to keep the patriarch rule in place. And just like Brother 832 said, that's why we know today, as we all are here together, that the Pope bows down to whom? He don't bow down to no man. He bows down to the melanated woman and child. So when the defeat of the woman happened, the defeat of the nation happened. And that was all across the planet in the indigenous. Okay? And you're dealing with some beings that were put into play in the grand scheme of the story or the script for us to learn these lessons. But these particular beings, their particular realm, they had their own battles. Okay? So meaning they were misusing and abusing their matriarch society, and wars broke out, and they destroyed stuff, and they just brought it over here into this realm. So, but very good point. Very, very good point, sis.
If you look at that movie Prometheus, they didn't have any women.
Right, but I knew where they were going with that, because I knew that those were those beings that, do not have that balance with the feminine energy into play. And that goes back to what Brother 832 was talking about, all of the perversiveness with some of the sexual behaviors. That all plays into that, okay? But at the end of the day, although they may not have any women, trust and believe, to tap into the powers, they still have to use feminine energy to do it. Just no getting around it. But us as indigenous people, we are very much more powerful because we enter and understand the importance of the feminine divine energy, what it's supposed to be used for, and how we're supposed to be balancing it out with the masculine energy. So that's what makes us more powerful. And now the spell has been lifted from all of the religion and all of that other bullshit. So that's why we're at the point that we're at now with those of us that are on it and awake. And that's why we would never repeat that. We don't need to repeat it. We done been there, motherfucking done that, motherfucking got the T-shirt. Okay, but very, very good points. Very, very good points. Okay, so, dang, where am I at? Okay, I said as of Christ. Okay, so, and as to the effects of these two former parties with the, damn it, I lost my part just that quick. Look to the side. Sorry, the two former parts with the consultation and the outward means, they are so wonderful as I dare not allege any of them without joining a sufficient reason of the possibility thereof, for leaving all the small trifles among wives, and to speak of the principal points of their craft. For the common trice thereof, they can do without conversing well enough by themselves. These principal points, I say, are these. They can make men or women to love or hate others, or hate other, which may be very possible to the devil to effecate, seeing he being a I'm sorry, what did you say? What did you say it is, Sean? Effectual. Okay, effectual. Mm-hmm. Okay. And this is all spelled differently, y'all, so that's why sometimes the words are jingled up. Okay, seeing he being a subtle spirit knows well enough how to persuade the corrupted affection of them whom God will permit him to so deal with. They can lay to sickness of one upon another, which likewise is very possible until him. For since by God's permission, and this is still the lowercase God, child, since by God's permission he laid sickness upon Job, why may he not? And Brother Sean, you see that J. Now you didn't point it out about that J. Okay. Why may he not fare easily lay it upon any other? For as an old practitioner, he knows well enough what humor dominates most in any of us. And as a spirit, he can subtly waken up the same, making it, I don't know what's that, peccant, or to abound as he thinks meet for troubling of us, when God so permit him. And for the taking off of it, no doubt he will be glad to relieve such a present pain as he may think by these means to persuade to be catched in the everlasting snares and fetters. They can bewitch and take the life of men or women by roasting of the picture. Sorry, y'all. Roasting of the pictures, as I spake of before, which likewise is very possible to their master to perform. For although, as I said before, that instrument of wax have not virtue in that turn doing, yet may he not very well, even by the same measure that his conjured slaves melts that wax at the fire, may he not, I say, at the same time settle as a spirit, so weaken and scatter the spirits of life of the patient, and may make him on the one part for faintness to sweat out the humor of his body, and on the other part for not the concurrence of these spirits, which causes his digestion. So dilapidate his stomach, that his humor radical continually, sweating out on the one part, and no new good luck being put in place thereof. For lack of the digestion on the other, he at last shall vanish away, even as this picture will do at the fire. And the knavish and cunning workmen, by troubling him only at some times, makes a proportion so near between the working of the one and the other that both shall end as it were at one time. They can raise storms and tempests in the air, either upon sea or land, though not universally, but in such a particular place and prescribed bounds as God will permit them so to trouble, which likewise is very easy to be discerned from any other natural tempests that are meteors, in respect of the sudden and violent raising thereof, together with the short enduring of the same. And this is likewise very possible to their master to do, he having such affinity with the air as being a spirit, and having such power of the forming and moving thereof, as ye have heard me already declare. For in the scriptures that style of the prince of air, Ephesians 2, is given unto him.
That's
they can make folks,
That's that weather control you were talking about.
Exactly. They can make folks to become ferret, I don't know what that is, Brother Sean, or manicky, which likewise is very possible to their master to do, since they are but natural sickness, and so he may lay on these kinds as well as any others. They can make spirits either to follow and trouble persons or haunt certain houses, and affray oftentimes the inhabitants, as hath been known to be done by our witches at this time. And likewise they can make some to be possessed with spirits, and so to become very demonic, and this last sort is very possible, likewise to the devil, their masters, to do, since he may easily send his own angels, to trouble in what form he pleases any whom God will permit him to do so. So that's Epi saying that. So I'll pause, Brother Sean, because he tried to put a lot in there, but he was kind of backtracking and double talking at the same time. So I'm going to let you put something on it so I can get a drink, Brother Sean. Go ahead, just put something on it.
He's talking about mind control and casting spells on people to drive them out of their mind. So now they take that same mythology or technology or Buddhism that he was using, and they use it in technology nowadays. They do
very
it
good, sis.
In the cell phones and the computers and these smart chips they put in your body to make you wacky and make these people do all this violence that they're doing. And it's just, most of the violence done by people who've been under that ML Ultra, what is it?
MK Ultra, yes.
Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
They've been under that mind control system. And so they've taken it to another step from what he was saying that we were doing, and so they decided to develop it more. And their MK Ultras and their mind controls and all these people killing folks like they're retarded. And they're controlled by things. Remember that lady on that tape in 2002? She said they were making her crazy.
Yes.
That prison woman, and they were about to execute her, And she said,
yeah,
every time.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
The serial killer lady, yeah.
The killer lady, the 2002 lady. Yeah, they were doing all that stuff. And so he's saying that they're doing all that stuff. They can do that stuff with the sciences they learned from the witches.
Yeah, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Sorry. Maybe I should wait. Anyway, they can do it because you consent to it by having all of this time that took place, okay, to give in to breaking down your family structure, your lineage that was righteous, your farming that was good and clean and healthy, the air, the this, the that, and the other, your hygiene methods of mixing with other people, which is why I was doing the piece and still am on the different genocide, the many creations thereof. That's what they were explaining to you just then, the creation stories, okay, because you could mix that one forming one that is mentally ill, okay? But there are parts when you learn what we knew before just because it was imparted to us, it was in us, but it was also imparted and reinforced by family structure, okay? And the village taking care of each one, not
right.
Hilly and Billy, okay? But you got it through that, and you got it through age grades and initiations and things like that. Not the initiations that you've heard of in the last 100 or 200 years. I'm not talking about although there are some still that are the ancient ones. This is why we must go back to the ancient, being ancient.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And please stop saying they. Talk about we. Talk about you. Talk about, even if you say I of yourself without it being egotistical, talk about you. Okay? That old movie, Tea House of the August Moon, talk about happy things. Talk about me and you. Talk about things you like to do, because you keep reinforcing them, and it makes this thing take so much longer. I know you have to get it out. I may come across hard, but Mama is that way, okay? Because she's trying to get everything back, and hugging you at the same time. Read this and take this in and see that piece, those pieces that are yours anyway, and see the other things that you must acknowledge that, and then leave it the fuck alone. Because if you keep it, that holds you back from going into fully more and more to the fifth dimension and beyond. Those of us who come back and forth and all like that, keeping this other positivity going to assist others, if you don't do that, if you don't keep your pathways open, you can't get to go further than just a little bit longer. So, and your thoughts and your words, in the beginning was what? The Word. And the Word was what? And the Word was with whom? You. Because you are the God you've been looking for. It's all in you. You the Mickey Ficky of the best, okay? And ain't nobody none the less than you. And you're none the less than anybody else. Put your back up and say, "Ooh, yeah." We're not going to be nasty. We're not going to be dominant. We're going to be in control, ruling ourselves.
Right.
But not being detrimental to anyone or body or land or air or any of the forces of nature either. We're going to use them for righteousness. So we're just doing the balance here. Everybody's playing their part. So, okay. Thank you.
Yep, indeed. Brother Sean, you have something? Yeah,
Okay, that part where that word is frantique and maniac.
Okay,
and
thank
that
you.
can cause people to go into frenzies or act maniac.
or so like manic, maniac is like manic.
Like
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so frenzy
mental
and
illness.
manic.
Yeah,
Yep,
maniac.
got you.
Frenzy and maniac.
Yep.
And what I found interesting is how he keeps saying where God permits the devil, who
Yes.
God permits the devil to. Like they got a agreement.
Mhm. Isn't that interesting?
Mhm. And the part about, well, basically he's saying that they're also elementals, even though it's confined to a local region as far as for where they at. But being elementals and controlling the weather or being in harmony with nature is something natural does.
Yep.
That's why he pointed out that the things that the witches were doing was natural and not necessarily learned from the devil.
Yep. Yep. Indeed, indeed. Very good points, everybody. And I agree with everyone's point. I just found it interesting, once again, like Brother Sean was saying, that he pretty much is admitting that the lowercase God and the devil had this little agreement. What is being allowed to quote, and I'm doing allowed in quotation marks, y'all. So to me, this is going back to what Sis Lioness was saying about everybody playing their part. Okay, so that's really what that is saying, as the script is being played out. But still, even with that, he has to admit that these witches have a lot of the power because they can tap into the energies. So using the natural energies to make different things happen. Now, fast forward to what Sis Sandra is saying, that they took these sacred sciences and imitated them in the physical world with that whole MK Ultra bullshit. And as Sis Lioness was saying, even with that being said, you had to be in agreement on a subconscious level to participate in the whole MK Ultra situation. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure most of you have saw the movie Get Out. So think about that, how all of that played out. And what the main character had to go through, he had to, pull himself up from a subconscious level to come out of that trance. Okay, so all very, very good, valid points. I love the way we broke it down to what they were talking about when this was written. And Sandra, I love the way you were putting it in the content of physically how they were using the MK Ultra as kind of a one-off of these particular sciences. So, okay, all righty. So this is Phi coming back, because Epi, boy, although he called himself giving an argument to me, he kind of proved the point that the witches have all of this power and they're using it naturally, okay? Because to me, he kind of talked himself in a circle on that. Okay, so here's Phi. But will God permit these witches, but will God permit these wicked instruments by the power of the devil, their master, to trouble any of these means, any that believe in him? Okay, so Phi wouldn't let him slip on that little devil comment, and that supposedly the devil is their master. So here go Epi. No doubt, For there are three kinds of folks whom God will permit to be so tempted or troubled: the wicked for their horrible sins, to punish them in like measure; the godly that are sleeping in any great sinners or infirmities and weakness in faith, to waken them up; the faster by such an uncouth former, and even some of the best, that their patience may be tried before the world, as Job's was. So why may not God use any kind of extraordinary punishment when it pleases him, as well as their ordinary rods of sickness or other adversaries? Okay, so I don't have anything to put on that because it's pretty self-explanatory. Huh?
I say that's deep, though. I mean, who sound like the devil? I mean,
exactly.
When it pleases
exactly, because
right,
because their God. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm just saying to say, for any kind of extraordinary punishment, when it pleases him, as well as the ordinary roads of sickness and other adversity. So everything else that he didn't put against you, now he just going to let the devil fuck with you just because it pleases.
Right. Right, but the witches and the devil are the one bad, according to him. Dude, you're breaking down your own logic. You're contradicting yourself, because just your thesis you gave before that, you was accusing the witches of using these natural medicines to cure people, or they use the natural medicines to make people sick. Well, you just said your God does the same thing pretty much, so, you know, I'm confused. Okay. So 5 comes back and says, who then may be free from these devilish practices? So 5 really getting into him now, because he see where he double talking. He done backed Effie up in the corner now, so here go Effie. No man ought to presume so far as to promise any impunity to himself, for God hath before all beginnings ordained, or I guess they say ordinated, as well as the particular sorts of plagues as of benefits for every man, which in the own time he ordains them to be visited with. And yet ought we not to be more afraid for that of anything that the devil and his wicked instruments can do against us. Wow, that's a deep statement, but Blood said it, but let me keep reading. For we daily fight against the devil in 100 other ways, and therefore as a valiant captain, afraid no more being at the combat, nor stays from his purpose for the rummaging shot of a cannon, nor the small clack of a pistol, suppose he be not certain what may light upon him. Even so ought we boldly to go forward in the fighting against the devil without any great terror, for these his rarest weapons, nor for the ordinary whereof we have daily the proof. Okay, so to me, he didn't talk to himself to me in another corner, because you still sitting up here talking about that your particular God, you know, if, you know, he didn't already determine before all the beginnings what plagues he gonna put on folks for the benefit of folks. So, I mean, to me, he still just backed himself up in the corner, because he's saying the devil is wicked and doing one thing, but you better be afraid of capital G, lowercase o, lowercase d. So that's what I got out of it. Not sure, Sean or Sis, if you all wanted to put something else on that.
kind of like these guys who go to these places for religious revenge, and they call those people wicked and evil, but they're the ones that's doing the shooting. You know, the people that's doing the dying is trying to honor who they consider their God, but you're the ones that's doing the shooting. So, so who is the devil?
Exactly.
Is the devil. See, that's the oxymoron, I think. That's what they call that.
Exactly.
Exactly. You're the one that's killing folks with your witch hunts and your crucifixions, but you calling them devils?
Right.
Because, you know, they're healing people and helping people with their craft and making some money to support themselves, but you're the one running around taking their property every time.
Right, with the weapons. Now, let's put it in there. With the weapons and the cannons and the goddamn guns, but now they wicked because they putting their spiritual magic on your ass to survive.
Exactly. Well, he's really using a lot of oxymorons as to
he really done backed himself up in the corner on this one.
Yes. And that's what they do. They go to synagogues and kill everybody, and then they say they're the children of Satan. I'm like, excuse me? Who has the gun? Right.
Brother Sean, did you have something you wanted to add on that? Did he get kicked off?
No, we already know
that.
We already know about the fear factor that the course he alluded to. And we fight against the devil in 100 other ways. I can't imagine what that is, considering they running around doing everything.
Right.
But even so, ought we boldly to go forward in fighting against the devil without any great terror. In other words, don't fear the devil. For these his rarest weapons. So, is he saying the witches are the devil's rarest weapons?
That's what I think he's saying. That's exactly what I think he's saying. But to me, he's been afraid of them throughout this whole doggone argument.
Exactly.
I 1,000% agree. And he called them the rarest. Yeah, we know they rare because you can't produce and match what they can do. Your guns and your cannons can't go up against them. So, okay, we got 5 more minutes I'm going to read because we only got a couple of more sentences in this argument so we can be at a better place next week. So 5 comes back and says, it is not lawful then by the help of some other witch to cure the disease that is casting on by that craft. Okay, so in other words, you telling me that they can't cure diseases and stuff. That's what you finna sit up here and tell me. Here comes Effie. No ways lawful, for I gave you the reasons thereof in the oxymy of theology, which was the last word I spake of magic or magi. So 5 goes, how then may these diseases be lawfully cured? 5 getting on them. Effie. Only by earnest prayer to, now he had the nerve to say the capital G-O-D, by amendment of their lives and by sharp pursuing every one according to his calling of these instruments of Satan, whose punishment to death will be sultry sacrifice for the patient. And this is not only the lawful way, but likewise the most sure. For the devil's means can never the devil be casting out, as Christ saith, Mark 3. And when such a cure is used, it may well serve for a shorter time, but at last it will doubly tend to utterly, doubtlessly, sorry, I'm looking at doubly, doubtlessly tend to utterly prediction of the patient, both in body and soul. Okay, so we literally only have 3 more minutes. His response to me didn't make sense to me. He's still bull crapping around. He did not answer the question on how folks were supposed to, why can't they use their own power to cure diseases. So I'm going to go around for last words because we literally only have 2 more minutes. Sis Lioness, do you have any last words for the family?
All I will say right now is that isn't this still a good book that's a teaching? Look at what you have put out there, a teaching lesson for so many people because you're helping people to think this out. So, in effect, it's a good book.
Yes, it really is. I'm shocked of the amount of information that was put in here. Absolutely. Sis Sandra, you have any last words for the family?
I'm just seeing how this book is showing everybody the bottom line was the dollar and who's in control. It has nothing to do with the craft you use, it's how you use the craft.